24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a Honey Buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly here from IRG, and Wednesday, January 29th, Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is having a free live webinar to talk all about stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join the free live stem cell webinar Wednesday, January 29th at 6 p.m. and learn all about stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Register at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Well, this is pretty fun for me. Normally, Shannon O'Kelly and I are talking physical therapy, but today we are talking First Mark Insurance. You made the call to First Mark. You took the challenge. Why?
Brock, I was looking for a local agency that I could align with similar values, and they've helped us here at IRG. They shop different plans. They find the best plan for you, the best price, the best coverage, great customer service, and great connectivity.
Did they save you any money along the way?
Absolutely, they saved us money. Obviously, here at IRG, I have several needs in the insurance industry, and they look at those needs A to Z, and they find out what kind of coverage you need, what is the best coverage, at what cost, and they're always looking to save money. And again, it's all about providing my company, IRG, great customer service.
Well, Shannon and IRG, they took the challenge. Molly and I, we took the challenge. Are you confident that your business is getting the very best when it comes to your insurance needs? If not, take the First Mark Challenge today, and it's totally free. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com, your teammate that goes to work for you. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you that they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Congratulations to Ichiro Suzuki for being a near unanimous selection to the Baseball Hall of Fame yesterday. Ichiro was enshrined with 393 of 394 votes. That's right, one person didn't vote for Ichiro. Chargers pass rusher Khalil Mack won't retire after all. He's set to become a free agent for the first time in his 11-year career and told ESPN's Adam Schefter today he plans to play in 2025.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
I'm not starting the show until we find out who it was.
Who did it?
Show yourself. You coward.
You a buster.
393 of 394 baseball writers voted for Ichiro to be in the Hall of Fame. One person decided to make it about themselves and didn't vote for Ichiro. Here's my beef with that, Bump. This person remains completely anonymous.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Completely anonymous. What was your reaction when you, because we all talked about watch, but I don't know that we fully thought it would happen, but we had joked, watch someone not vote for Ichiro to make a point.
Yeah, I was sitting on my couch folding some clothes, and I saw my phone lighting up. It was in the text group that we're in.
Yes.
And I didn't pay any attention to it. I'm locked in. I'm just folding clothes and stuff. And then I see on the ticker at the bottom, ESPN, I see it go down. I go, whoa, what are you talking about? Just one guy. One guy, what, 300 and something?
94.
394 guys or women, voters, whoever. 394 voters, and one person said, you know what? I'm going to shake things up. And you know, the main factor in this was that you can remain anonymous. If you had to explain yourself and say, look, this is my vote. We had a list of all the voters on there, and we got to see where they voted. Oh, that person would have definitely voted for Ichiro. I think this is I wouldn't say it's personal. I would say it's just selfish. It's very selfish of that person.
Well, there are people who use their votes in the Hall of Fame sometimes. If this is something people do. If you know that this person's going to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, my vote's not going to matter. Like, they're absolutely getting in. Maybe you use your vote then or your votes on other people to keep them eligible for the Hall, right? To keep them above that percentage threshold. And maybe you're doing that because you want them to be able to remain on the ballot longer or be eligible for next year's ballot. And so you're using one of your votes or your vote as essentially a tool to do that. However, while I understand why some voters do that, there are, a handful, if that, of opportunities once a decade for a truly unanimous selection. There's only been one in history, Mariano Rivera, obviously. Derek Jeter was one shy, Ichiro was one shy, Griffey was three shy. All three of those could have been unanimous selections. And I think there's something about one stubborn voter, 2, 3 stubborn voters that think unanimous selection, like that no one's deserving of that. Or maybe, I don't know, they don't recognize the importance of it. I don't know what it is. I just think that when you have a chance for someone to be unanimous, out of respect for baseball history, they deserve that vote. If you truly believe they deserve the vote, then why not give it to them?
Here's the thing about this. You said 394?
394 total.
All right. So 393 people saw something the same way. The exact same way. To get 393 people to think the same way is tough as heck. In anything. We could be talking about sports, politics,
food,
if the world is flat, anything, right? To get 393 people to think the same way is extremely difficult. That means the evidence is overwhelmingly true. The evidence points to this is the truth. This is what should go down. That's why I look at that one person, I just shake my head. You made this about you. You're being selfish. I bet you're giggling somewhere. It's probably somebody in New York. I think I heard someone say
that's my second
New
theory.
York has like writers, 13 or 14 writers in New York that get this vote. It's like you're tucked away somewhere on the East Coast probably, and you know that you're not going to have to confront anybody out here in the West, and you know that your name is going to remain anonymous. You know that you have a chance to be part of history, and you made your own history by not voting. 393 people saw this the same way. That is hard to do.
Yes, and shame on you. There are three potential explanations. We've talked about 2 of them. Number 1, someone utilizing his or her vote to keep someone else eligible for the Hall because they knew Ichiro would be enshrined. Number 2 would be a New York area voter that says, only Mariano Rivera, only a Yankee can remain unanimous. I'm not going to give a Mariner or anyone else this vote. Reasoning number 3, and this to me is such a weak, lame argument because it's like blinders up, look at Ichiro. You're a singles hitter. You're someone who you never went to won a World Series. You looking at basically the things that, like, if you were to raise the bar to the roof and then think of a reason Ichiro doesn't qualify, like, oh, he's a singles hitter. He has over 3,000 hits as an MLBer, not including over 1,200 in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I don't like the kind of hits he had. Shut up. Like, you're a horrible voter. If that's truly, I almost have the least amount of respect for that voter. At least with the other two. One of them, you're being petty, which sometimes I respect. And the other one, you think you're doing the right thing for someone else. Both are horrible reasons. The third is the worst, that you truly didn't think he was worthy of it.
I heard that argument or that perspective. Oh, he only hit singles. People are complaining now that batters are only swinging for home runs now. You would want Ichiro on your squad. Any era of baseball, you want Ichiro on your squad. He had one at-bat his whole career where his average was below 300. One at-bat, below 300.
But we all want to complain how no one can hit now. Oh, everyone's only hitting home runs. But here's someone who hits exactly the way that we need people to.
And this was, and everything that I've read and I've seen, is that if Ichiro wanted to hit bombs, he could have hit bombs.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the way he wanted to play the game. I'm going to get on base, drive some runs in. I'm going to steal bases. This was his game. So, yeah, man, I was disappointed. But that still doesn't take away the fact that he got in.
Yeah.
He got in. At least he was honored. We knew he was going to get in. It wasn't a question whether he was going to get in. The question was, is it going to be unanimous or not? It takes a little bit away from it, but then it doesn't at the same time. We already said that his number's going to be retired. He's going to get a statue. He will be honored. He will be immortal. He will be celebrated the correct way, but there's just an opportunity to do something great. And that one person denied us of that.
Can I add on just like, as a former reporter, one thing that annoys me, Bump. Buster Olney was on with us yesterday, and we asked him, do you think Ichiro is going to be a unanimous selection? And he said this.
I don't know what justification that anyone could generate to not vote for him, given his absolute dominance, batting titles and all-time hit king and the gold gloves and, great base runner, the whole thing. I can't imagine. Now, that all said, Ricky Henderson, who passed away, when he came up with the Hall of Fame, the greatest leadoff hitter in baseball history, 29 voters didn't vote for him. Scored more runs than anybody else in the history of baseball, and that's the point of the game, scoring runs, and still people found a reason not to vote for him. Ken Griffey Jr., right? Was it 3 or 4 who didn't vote for him?
3.
And never, and never put their names out, never acknowledged publicly that, that they didn't vote for him, which, by the way, is kind of insane when you're talking about a union of journalists not agreeing to transparency.
Okay, so that last part, Bump, is so important to me. The 206 and a couple other people have already said, okay, you guys are doing a little too much. He's already in the Hall of Fame. What did that one vote not matter? First of all, every single time anyone talks about Mariano Rivera, the first thing they're going to say is a unanimous Hall of Fame selection. That's how he's going to be introduced anywhere he goes. I would imagine that would have mattered very much to Ichiro, who has a deep respect for the history of baseball, has been to the Hall of Fame multiple times, including as an active player. I would imagine that being a unanimous selection would have mattered deeply to him. I think this matters deeply to him, and it matters deeply to Mariners fans and baseball fans. The bigger story, as you pointed out from the jump, Bump, is that Ichiro's in the Hall, and that's so cool. We knew it would happen, but what a chance to celebrate him. As a former reporter, I am personally interested in why someone wouldn't. And I think it's interesting that in a group of reporters who would typically care about transparency, that vote remains anonymous. That's all. I'm sorry. It is deeply interesting to me why someone wouldn't.
So when I was in college, I studied human development. That was one of my favorite classes. And the reason why I loved that class was because I got to understand people, why they behave this way, how things affect them, why they are who they are. So to lean on your point, yeah, I would want to know. You could give me a reason and I could respect it. I might not agree with it, but I'd be like, all right, that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But the fact that we don't get that information, we don't get that chance, and it leaves us to wonder all of these other possibilities of why it could be, that's what gets me angry. It's like you have a responsibility as a voter, whether you're a Heisman voter, MVP voter, Hall of Fame voter, you have a responsibility to get it right. And if you can justify not voting for this dude, and it could make sense to me, might not agree, but it can make sense, and I throw my hands up and say, all right, man, you got it. But the fact that you're able to do it and just kind of hide away and live a normal life and not have to explain yourself, that's what irks me a little bit, because that person is sitting at home watching all of us flip out right now. And he or she, they're just laughing like, I got these dudes. At least that's the way I see it, because we don't get no type of explanation for that. So, this it was frustrating. And, I shouldn't let it frustrate me to the point to where we missed the main fact is that he's in.
Yeah.
He's immortal. He almost a unanimous vote. He's one of the greatest to do it. So big ups to Ichiro. I'm sorry that just one little box couldn't be checked.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sorry that this person who has been a baseball reporter for a minimum of 10 years to get this vote. I mean, as someone serious with their craft, this isn't like some random troll. I'm sorry that this person didn't think that he should cast his vote for Ichiro. I want to know why. And I think that reporters should be transparent if they demand transparency in general.
They sure do. They ask a lot of athletes at times. They ask an athlete to stand up at the podium and explain himself for why he fumbled that football, why he didn't make that catch. Coaches, why did you make this call? Why didn't you do that? And if coaches and players don't respond in a way that they see fit, now they throw them under the bus. I mean, we just had a situation where there's a reporter that was in the Notre Dame locker room who reported some family business. There's probably some 18, 19-year-old in that Notre Dame locker room tripping, flipping out. We didn't win. I'm sad. We're not going to might not be here next year, and called it amateur hour. So it's a two-way street, man. I think that players should do the best they can to be transparent in situations where emotions are high, and it's tough, man. And these reporters are asking these questions, and sometimes, players get their attitudes or whatnot, but they're standing there facing the funk. Mm-hmm. They should have to do it too, especially when it comes to any type of voting, MVP, Hall of Fame, whatever. Give us your reasoning. What is your name, sir or ma'am? And you might complain that Bump and I are upset about this and say you're focusing too much, but the entire sports world is doing the exact same thing yesterday and today. Here's Stephen A. Smith.
And nobody worth their salt would question whether or not this dude is a Hall of Famer, one of the most complete players we have ever seen in the history of baseball. We know this. That's why he received all the votes that he received. And one person's holding out. Who the hell is that person? I want their names. Who are they? These weak-ass people that want to have a vote, but that you don't want to let anybody know who you are. Stand up. Justify. To have the right to vote is a privilege. You have a right to know who that person is and what was your rationale behind being the lone dissenter when everybody associated with Major League Baseball, from a voting perspective, voted differently than you. You're the only person that felt differently, despite a clear Hall of Fame resume. You must justify that.
Preach! You know that saying, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence? Mm-hmm. Apply that exactly to this. This isn't some random Twitter troll getting attention and energy from people. This is a credentialed baseball reporter or writer who has been doing this for 10 plus years in order to even get this vote. This is someone who did this because he does not believe, presumably, that Ichiro should be in the Hall of Fame. It's an extraordinary claim, and I want the evidence that follows. I'm not weird for that. Nah. Stephen A. Smith, you are not weird for that.
I think everybody wants
Everyone wants it.
Everyone wants it. I love it. He said, I want their name.
Who are you?
I felt that. That felt like a Denzel line in a movie or something, man. I see you.
Reveal yourself. Come on. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell won't be going anywhere. He's signing a contract extension to remain with Minnesota. What's the real headline?
They might not keep Sam Darnold, but they held on to the biggest reason for his success.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell in that offense is great. His next challenge is going to be, can it look anything similar to that with a rookie quarterback? If he's able to get J.J. McCarthy to look like Sam Darnold did, who I think can look like that, you need some reps, though. He's going to be crowned, man, and the Minnesota Vikings aren't going to go anywhere. The question now is, how long is Brian Flores going to be there to kind of mold that defense? Obviously, didn't end the way that they wanted to, but you see what's going on in Minnesota. They have an offensive assistant that works. They have a defensive coordinator that will attack. Now it's about the personnel. The most important position on the field is the quarterback position. Can you get this rookie to look anything like Sam Darnold did? If you can, the Minnesota Vikings ain't going nowhere.
You think the Minnesota Vikings can bounce back with another stellar season, or do you think this was a one-off? Like, I don't think that Sam Darnold, for instance, in his next season with whomever, whether it's Minnesota or elsewhere, is throwing for 35 touchdowns.
But
Minnesota had a lot going on.
That's the toughest part. Like, you got to prove it. You got to prove it. As horribly as it ended for the Vikings, you can't deny they were there, large part because of Sam Darnold. Right? You have a defense. You have weapons. We understand that. The quarterback has to run that offense. It can be a one and done. I don't think it's going to be a one and done, but I also think that we're not going to see these guys be as dominant as they were this year, next year, because you have a rookie quarterback. Everybody ain't Jane Daniels.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2. In addition to getting elected to the Hall of Fame yesterday, Ichiro will join Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez as the only Mariners to have their jerseys retired. What's the real headline?
Next up, let's retire the idea of a wild card banner. Ooh, I'm going to make some people mad with that one. Look, that wild card visit was one of my best memories as a sports fan.
Sure.
Do not get me wrong. However, I was a little surprised to see a banner added for the wild card.
I'm saying, like, you win the division, cool. I'm with that. World Series, cool. I'm with that. But an appearance in the wild card round, I don't know about that. But listen, this fan base hasn't had a lot to cheer about, and the organization itself hasn't had a lot to cheer about. So that's why they did it. I'm just saying it might look a little tacky. You know what I'm saying? I might take that thing down if I was them.
It's just me.
Just a suggestion.
Obviously, very, very cool that Ichiro is having his jersey retired. And this is in
August.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just already anticipating, like, beautiful day, sunny day, wonderful game. Fingers crossed the Mariners are contending and competitive, and we get this awesome moment. I do, not a lot of retired jerseys for the Mariners, but all 3, some of the best players.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll take it.
I like that they have
quality over quantity.
I like that they have not been. I think that they've been very selective who gets a jersey retirement, which I think is a good thing. I mean, you don't see guys who are like good players in the franchise's history get their jersey number retired. Like, no, it's the best of the best. Credit to the Mariners for doing this. I think this is going to be a fun week in August, but yeah, I like that they keep it very exclusive.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Mike Vrabel has hired Josh McDaniels to be the Patriots' new offensive coordinator, new old offensive coordinator. What's the real headline?
3rd time's a charm for Josh. I can't believe I hadn't realized it was the 3rd stint. I knew that it had already been a 2nd, but yeah. Like the math, I was like, oh, you're right. A 3rd time, same team, same role.
This is that couple that breaks up
and gets back together, and you're like, oh my God.
It's not going to work this time. No, trust me, it will.
Yeah.
But he's different.
Yeah, we've changed.
We went to therapy. Nah, man. I got some stronger feelings on this. You guys will hear it later, but yeah, man.
Are we going to hear it in Get Off My Lawn?
Maybe.
4 down territory.
Possibly.
Okay. Now, this also means that Grant Udinski, who was a potential candidate for the Patriots OC job, remains a candidate for Seattle without as much.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
Curtis, I would like to say this has been your best week.
Thank you.
This has been your best week. Your work is phenomenal this week.
Let's get back to the Ichiro conversation. I was going to get to Udinski, but we'll get to that. We were having a conversation about the Seahawks OC role coming up in 10 minutes anyways. Text line split on whether or not they care at all, with some people saying that they think the thing that this person wanted was attention drawn to himself.
Mm-hmm.
My only pushback to that would be no one knows who he is. Like, if he truly wanted attention drawn to himself, again, like...
He's an evil villain. He's a reporter villain. We talked about athlete villains. He's at home just rubbing his hands like Birdman, just loving he doesn't need the name. He feels all that energy. He's loving this, or she's loving this right now. He's Birdman right now.
I'm sorry. I'm not over it. I'm sorry. It's not even been 24 hours. This does bother me. Congratulations to anyone who's like, I don't really care about that person. Congratulations to Ichiro. You have so few people who can become unanimous selections.
Mm-hmm.
Griffey, everyone thought it could be Jeter. Everyone thought it could be Ichiro. Like, there are few people ever with a chance at doing this. And the other weird thing is, Curtis, what did you say the qualifications were for the baseball writers?
You got to be a member of the BBWA for 10 years before you can get a vote.
This isn't just someone that I thought it would be funny to do. I'm genuinely curious. Like, it's hard to do. It's hard to get a vote. Why not use it?
Brady, I'm glad you're here, but if Matt was here, I'd be like, who is the evil, like, Marvel guy that could represent what this guy is doing right now? The guy who works behind the scenes that no one really knows. Like, he's the guy who creates chaos on the streets of New York and then just walks by with a cup of coffee and just observes it. No one knows that it's him. He's got his trench coats on and everything. That's what this feels like, man. This is I want to study this person's mind. I want to get inside your brain and see how this works.
Well, and it's a bold claim. It's a bold decision, right? Like, you did something that, as you mentioned, Bump, 393 other people were like, oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this totally makes sense. I just think that kind of move, especially from a reporter, kind of necessitates an explanation.
It does. We'll never get it. That's the worst part. We will never get this.
Well, why would this person not reveal themselves if they truly believed in what they did?
Because they know what's coming after
Stand
them.
on business.
They know. That's a cowardly move. But
then you shouldn't have made the move. If you didn't truly fundamentally believe that the vote you were or were not making was the right one, you can't stand behind it?
No, maybe he thinks it's the right one. That's what I'm saying. Like, that person could really think this was the right move. I'm going to leave 2% of myself to say, look, if you had a heck of an argument, okay. But 393 other people felt the same way. The evidence is too real.
I know. I've seen a couple other people said, like, look, I can kind of buy the New York thing, but technically Ichiro was with the Yankees for a little while.
Where's the jersey getting retired? Where's the statue going to be?
Seattle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was a Yankee for 3 days.
Washington's biggest night out for sports is almost here, the 90th Annual Sports Star of the Year Awards. This star-studded event brings together the athletes and icons behind our favorite teams and unforgettable moments. So be part of history and cast your vote, as long as you're willing to be open about it, for the men and women's Sports Star of 2024. Voting is anonymous. Representing the best of Washington sports, you can also vote for Sports Story of the Year. Voting is open now through January 29th, so head to our events page at seattlesports.com/events and make your voice heard. The winner will be announced live at the 90th Annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft on February 27th. Don't miss out. Vote now and be part of the celebration. Coming up next, a wild theory about the Seahawks OC role.
Ichiro is headed to Cooperstown.
The unbelievable has happened!
Celebrating the career of Ichiro Suzuki.
I may joke around, but I really think it's great that we get a chance to play together.
I agree.
I'm here to tell you that Ichiro grew something out of Star Wars down there.
He had the most unbelievable ability to put the bat on the ball.
And a ground ball back up the middle, and there it is. He's a new all-time hit king.
Join Seattle Sports in congratulating Ichiro Suzuki on a Hall of Fame career with your Seattle Mariners.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, telling you that people all over the Northwest are going to lose 20 to 30 pounds by Valentine's Day. They'll do it by starting with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic as their resolution, and you can as well. A 15-minute phone call is all it takes to get started or see if you're even interested in the program. So take that time to do something for yourself and your future. I did the program. I immediately lost 10 pounds in the first week, lost 35 pounds after 8 weeks, so it absolutely works. Here's what I didn't have to do. Fight for space in a crowded gym with New Year's resolutioners, take pills or even worse, injections, eating bland, boxed, fake meals, nothing like that. What I did get was delicious recipes, a group to offer support, and the accountability, and an easy-to-follow plan that really did work. Do it for yourself this year. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Don't let a 15-minute phone call hold you back. Do it right now. Call 425-588-0080 or go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight. And you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it.
And now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Hey Seahawks fans, Tyler Lockett for Brown Bear Car Wash. We've got the perfect play for a spotless car. With the Unlimited Wash Club, you can keep your car game ready all season long. It isn't clean unless it's Brown Bear clean.
It's time to vote for the top athletes and sports stories of 2024. Be part of history and help choose the Sports Stars of the Year from a knockout roster representing the best in Washington sports. Cast your vote for the Sports Story of the Year. Was it the Seawolves playoff run, the Kraken making history, or UW rowing dominating the Olympics? You decide. Vote now at seattlesports.org and enter for a chance to see the winners announced live at the 90th Annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today.
The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. I'm proud to let you know that nationwide, our clinics have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Google. This tells you that our patients are really seeing results. Here's what some of them are saying. The results are close to phenomenal. On top of that, the staff and the scheduling are top-notch, and my technician is a consummate professional. Another patient said, I called numerous clinics, and West Coast was by far the best. The other places wouldn't give me any information over the phone, but West Coast answered all of my questions. My wife and I were skeptical, but we've already noticed the difference. This was a game changer for us. West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men reverse their ED using acoustic wave therapy. No pills or shots necessary. Give us a call today so we can help you too.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hi, I'm Adrian, owner of Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Treating your home with care is important to me. At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we offer premium windows that are 25% more energy efficient, reduce noise by 50%, and come with clean glass technology. And Leak Armor installation gives you a lifetime warranty to protect your home. Right now, save $600 per installed window and $1,200 per door, and make no payments for a year. For details, visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com. Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
A wild theory about the Seahawks OC role. This is not necessarily a new name attached, though there is someone else to consider here, and I'll throw his name out in a second. This is about how the Seahawks will handle the offensive coordinator position. From Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, he said, I think the Seahawks are considering the possibility of splitting up the job. This is what he means. So let's say that, hey, they badly need help in the run game, and maybe they bring in Lions offensive line coach Haig Fraley. Hey, two birds, one stone. He helps with the run game, helps that offensive line. But oh, wait, he doesn't have any play calling experience, and we don't want to lose the thing that we knew best, right? Like the one thing we did well was a passing offense. So in addition to bringing in Haig Fraley, maybe as an assistant offensive coordinator or as just a pass game coordinator, they have someone else. He mentions Vegas's Scott Turner as a name to watch. What do you think about that idea?
I like the concept of it. I think that when you have too many chefs in the kitchen, things happen, right? Who's really calling the plays? What if, Hank and Scott don't agree on a concept or a way to attack the game? They would have to be just hand in hand, step by step. They got to be on the same page. I don't know much about Scott Turner, but looking at his resume, he seems like he's qualified for the job. He was Washington football team. Remember that team? They're in the conference
The 1
championship
year,
now.
it was just, I felt like it was like a soccer, like a club. Washington football team.
Washington football team. He was the coordinator there from 2020 to 2022. Then he was the Vegas pass game coordinator from 23 to 24. Then flipped over to the interim offensive coordinator for the Raiders in 2024. None of his stops will wow you when you look at their numbers and the offensive production or whatnot. But I like the idea of this, the idea of having a guy who is a developer of offensive linemen in Fraley, because you know you need that. You're not going to start this season with 5 brand new offensive linemen and you're automatically fixed. You got to work with what's here, and a lot of what's here is younger talent. They got to be developed, and Hank has been said to be one of the best in the game at doing that. You know he understands the run game. He's an offensive guy, offensive lineman guy. You know he understands protection. He's an offensive line guy. I like the idea of it. When I was calling plays for Monroe High School, I leaned on my offensive line guy the most because he would see things in the box that I'm not looking at. I'm looking at the back and, okay, what are they doing in the box here? I like this. Put it in my back pocket. Okay, I'm going to call that when the time is right. The relationship can work. So it's an idea. And if you do have Hank over, I think it's important that he is supported when it comes to calling plays and the pass game.
Now, Albert Breer is exceptionally well connected. I wouldn't be surprised if he had been talking to people connected with Seattle and thought, hey, this could be something they're seriously considering. Like maybe they really like Hank Fraley, but have some concerns about his ability to oversee the passing offense in particular. And so they want to bring in someone really innovative there to kind of help out. Maybe that's something that's very real. I wonder if also playing a factor is the way that the Seahawks do things on defense, because they kind of have an unconventional approach to that. Like, you have a defensive coordinator, but your head coach is your play caller, and you've also got an advisor in the role, like an assistant head coach in Leslie Frazier, who was brought here solely for kind of defensive oversight. So you've got 3 cooks in the kitchen,
right?
But it's a little easier. Is that different when it comes to defense versus offense? Because I wonder if it would be a little tougher to do that on the offensive side of things.
I think it would be. I think on defense it works because everyone knows Mike McDaniel is the guy. He's the head coach. What he says goes. Even if you don't necessarily agree with him,
yes,
you might give him an idea, and if he don't run with it, he don't run with it. He's the guy. He's the head coach. I think it gets a bit different on the offensive side because you are on the attack. How are we going to attack this team this week? What do we see? Situational stuff. What do we want to do? On the defensive side, I've said it plenty of times, you are reacting to what the offense is going to do. They come out in a certain personnel. All 3 chefs know we got to come out in this personnel. If they pack it in on 3rd and 1, all 3 chefs know we should probably pack it in and bring in our base, our big boys, because we have to defend the run. On offense, it's, okay, what do we want to be? Are we going to come out and attack the edges this game? Are we going to come out and run more gap scheme this game? When are we going to open up and let it fly? It can work. I'm not saying it's impossible, but when you are on the attack, I think there's more room for people to have an opinion on what to do. When you are on the defensive side, it's, all right, what are they lined up in? What personnel package is out there? Let's get our guys in the right spot.
Well, and maybe Mike McDaniel in Seattle want this, or maybe Albert Breer thinks it's a good idea, but think about what an offensive assistant somewhere would actually want, and that would be a true promotion. A listener texts in a very good point. Fraley isn't coming here on a fake promotion. I can't see that. And you're right. Like, no one, first of all, is making a lateral move. But secondly, if I'm Hank Fraley and I ultimately want to be a head coach, and I know that in between being an offensive line coach and a head coach, I'm going to need to be a coordinator somewhere or have some more power. I don't want to knock on me to be, well, he didn't really oversee the pass game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to do a good job as fully the offensive coordinator so that when I get interest as a head coach somewhere else, there's no knock against me.
Here's the thing with that comment by the texter. I'm not mad at you. I see that point of view. I think that this isn't a fake promotion. This is a promotion. It's not a lateral move. He's not coming over here or wouldn't potentially come over here and just be the offensive line guy. He has more say in the game plan, and he's probably calling the plays when the game is lined up. And if this is the only opportunity he has out there, right, maybe he's looking elsewhere. He interviews and no one else offers him a job. And then the Seahawks are like, look, we want to bring you over. You are the coordinator, but we're going to support you with the passing game guy. It's not a lateral move. He's making a jump up. He's getting closer and closer to being a head coach. But I would also, if I'm him, there needs to be like a succession plan. Like there needs to be like, okay, well, after a year or two, it's just me. I got it. You know, after I understand After I have a 32 games under my belt, 40 games under my belt, and I understand the pass game. And who's to say he don't understand the pass game? Just because he's an O-line guy doesn't mean he don't understand the pass game.
And I make that assumption and will fully acknowledge that my assumption is, Hank Fraley, O-line guy, maybe not like the brightest. That was so. I
O-line guys are smart.
Admit. I know.
O-line guys are smart.
But
and
there's a stereotype.
I'm a receiver guy. I know the pass game. I know what to run against what box and all that good stuff. It's just that you look at the stature and the position and you're like, well, they probably didn't study that. If you want to be an offensive coordinator, the first thing you got to learn is that offensive line. Yep. It's the first thing. You got to protect. You got to run that football. It's the first thing you learn. So he's got the hard part down. The pass game is easier. The pass game is much easier than controlling that box. So we don't know the depths of his knowledge when it comes to the pass game, but he's played in this league. He's coached in this league. He's been around great coordinators. There's no way he just throws his hands up in the air and says, I don't know what to run. Scott, call it. Nah, man, my man knows. Scott will be there just to give him different ideas and try to like open up his mind when it comes to some stuff that he probably doesn't really know about.
Listener says, if Fraley's such a great OC candidate, why wouldn't the Lions hire him? Maybe they will. I have no idea. I mean, their offensive coordinator literally just left to go to the Chicago Bears. Obviously, they probably knew that would happen, and he had talked to them about it, so they've been looking at potential candidates for that role. But also, I think what you're going to need to, General U, accept about what the Seahawks are doing is you may not get the very best candidate that everyone else wants, and it's probably not going to be someone immediately in an OC role because it's not going to be a lateral move.
Yeah, it's not. It's you got
whoever you hire is going to be a risk in some way, is what I'm saying.
That's all going to be a risk, unless Andy Reid wants to step down and come over and call the offense over here. You know, it's always going to be somebody starting from a lower position, and you're giving him an opportunity to advance in his career, and you're rolling the dice, hoping that he's consistent, he does exactly or has the philosophy that aligns with what the head coach wants. It is all a risk. I said it before, I'll say it again. Mike has to get it right this time, and I think the chances of him getting it right are a lot higher because he has a year under his belt. And you just got to go from there, man. It's a roll of the dice, any way you put it.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Again, from Albert Breer, his latest for Sports Illustrated. He's got a lot of notes in there, so you got to dig a little bit into the article. But he says the Seahawks OC could be split into two separate roles. He says since they need a lot of help in the run game, I know they're intrigued with the idea of bringing in Hank Fraley, who's an O-line coach with Detroit, and then have Fraley hire his pass game coordinator. It's not something the Seahawks haven't done before, but it's also not something that's especially common around the NFL to kind of split up that job. Yeah. So it's an interesting approach because we've been assuming you hire your OC and then he hires his guys, but they might have a little bit of a step in and mediate.
He might have roles. A pass coordinator guy too that he wants to bring over.
Yep, exactly. Every single Wednesday at 10:45, Bump very calmly, rationally explains the three things that are just bothering him, grinding his gears. I don't think he's going to elevate, but we'll see if something really bothers him. That's coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Our weekly conversation with Daniel Jeremiah. If you were selling me on why to go with Clint Kubiak, why would you do it?
I would sell you on the fact that half the league runs this offense. So, in terms of finding players and fitting players in, you get free agents. There's a pretty good chance they've played in this offense before. So you have some familiarity there. It has success. There's a lot of teams that run it. There's a lot of teams that have been very successful with it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus for Silver Reef Casino. The weather is changing. It's January. The holidays are over. We are in winter. Make some plans for yourself, man. Visit silverreefcasino.com. We all know what's happening February 9th. It is the big game. They got you covered, man. They're going to have a watch party. Sit there and watch the game with people who are actually interested in the game, not just the commercials. Switch up your food. You don't have to eat the overcooked food that your in-laws make. Don't tell her, okay? I'm just playing with you, all right? Watch this game with Silver Reef Casino at the watch party, man. There's going to be a raffle, a buffet. They're going to give out swag, and most importantly, you get to watch the game. If you are interested, visit silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com. And don't go anywhere. Make it a staycation. They got deluxe rooms with great views. You got Mount Baker. You can see the Salish Sea. Also, great food. On-site dining is on point. So you can watch the game, go to your room, relax for a bit, and then go get something to eat. They got something for everyone at Silver Reef Casino. So go ahead and visit silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Hey, do you have a car sitting around just collecting dust? How would you like to turn that car into cash? Well, our friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn have a program that's unmatched. They'll buy your car today. They'll pay you up front for your car, but it gets even better. Once they resell your old car, they're going to share half their profit with you. How can they do it? The money they save by not traveling elsewhere to buy cars, auction fees, shipping expenses, as well as the travel expenses, all the money they save on those items is what allows them to offer this program. They'd much rather share that money with you than give it to outside services. And no, they're not going to offer you less for your car. In fact, they encourage you to shop around so you can compare for yourself. But if you can get the same or more money from Wayscar Ford for your car, get all your money right up front, and then once they resell your old car, get half the profit, why would you want to sell your car anywhere else? And it's only at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. 102 years, family-owned and operated in downtown Auburn. That's wayscarford.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and $250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Every Wednesday at 10:45, Bump tells us 3 things grind in his gears. And get off my lawn, Bump. What you got up first?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Thank you.
I blew my tire blew out on my way to take my kids to practice
Were you on the
yesterday.
freeway?
Dang. I was on a highway on 522, and all I hear is boom, shh, and it starts leaking. I'm like,
Did
dang.
you start swerving?
Nah, I slowed down, made a left. There's a gas station right there. So my son's learned how to change a tire last night. I go, you know what? Good learning lesson for you guys. All right, change a tire. Dads, let's teach our kids how to change tires, okay? It's going to happen. That's not my topic, though.
Oh, okay.
All right, first one. In honor of John Clayton, Joshy boy, Josh McDaniels, rest in peace, JC, gets himself his third opportunity with the New England Patriots. He's been a coach in this league for 18 years. He's got 89 games as an OC, about 60-something games as a head coach. Listen, y'all wonder why we got to force these owners to go interview somebody else. All right. I know everyone's like, oh, the Rooney Rule. You guys are tripping on DEI and all that good stuff. You wonder why we got to force these owners to go interview somebody else, because what they're going to do is they're going to recycle and recycle and recycle. Now, I'm saying the most qualified guy should get the job. I don't think you should get a job because you're a woman, because you're a man, because you're black, you're white, whatever. The most qualified guy should get the job. But this right here just baffles me. He's not a good coordinator if he doesn't have Tom Brady as his quarterback. Simple as that. He's done nothing without Tom Brady that makes you think he's a good head coach or a good coordinator. I'm looking at all his offensive rankings. With Tom Brady, 1, 2, 7, 3, 8 in the league. Without Tom Brady, 16, 11, 14, 7, 20. He's done nothing. I'm not saying he's not capable of being an offensive coordinator. Obviously, he is, but he's getting recycled. Robert Kraft said, you know what? Draw mail didn't work out. Let's go get Vrabel. He played for me. You know what? Man, I need a new office coordinator. You know what? Joshy boy, we've done this before. Let's go ahead and run this back. This is why you have to force these guys to interview someone else. The owners are going to do what they want to do, and they should. It's their team. I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but just expand your horizons a little bit. There's some young coordinator out there that I think would have done a great job with Drake May over there. You know, Robert Kraft, I'm not knocking you for your decision because it's your team. It ain't my team, it's your team. But this is why you force owners to at least experience something else. Maybe there's a young guy who sits down and just wows you. You're like, you know what? We've done Joshy boy before. You know, let's go with this young 28-year-old out of Minnesota. That's all I'm saying, man. And seeing him get recycled again is making me angry. But I'm not hating on nobody. You go ahead and do what you do. You and Robert Kraft must have played a lot of golf together at the country club.
I wonder if it's one of those things where people know he's smart, so they keep giving him chances. Like, he's smart, and it succeeded once. The context being that was with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
That's it.
Joshy man is back to being Joshy boy.
Exactly.
My man, JC. That's a great clip right there.
What's next?
All right.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right, we all know our second favorite team in the NFL.
Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, did not make it once again. And Lamar had two turnovers. He had the fumble, he had the interception. But the one thing we can count on with Lamar is that he's going to show up to that podium and he's going to talk. All right? This one goes out to Mark Andrews, man. Mark Andrews, you got to talk. You have to get this off your chest. You have to face the funk and just let it all out there. That was a big fumble that you had, and then you dropped a ball that will potentially tie that game up. You hiding like this and not addressing the media or not putting anything out there is not going to be good for you. I've been in these dark places before. This is more like a let me talk to you, kid. All right. I've been in those dark places before. I fumbled. I've been injured. I didn't make the play. And then I lock myself in a room. I grow my beard out. And it's not good mentally. Mark Andrews, you have to get out there, man. Everyone knows that you are a great tight end, one of the greatest tight ends to play this game, one of the best receivers to ever play for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm just concerned for him at this point. It's like, face it, baby. That's the only way to get through it. Hiding is not going to be able to get it done, man. So this is more just a health and wellness check on Mark Andrews. Where you at, brother? Let's see your face, and you're going to be fine. People respect you, dog. Like, you made 2 horrible plays. It happens. Anyone who catches as many passes as you do and you hold the football as much as you do, you're going to drop the football. You are going to fumble. It just happened in a huge moment. It wasn't just you that lost that game. Lamar contributed to that thing. It's a team sport, brother. So it's a health and wellness check on our guy, Andrew, man. Show your face, dog.
You know what's such a bummer about that is we had just had I can't remember if it was only in 4-down territory, if we had a separate segment about it, but we had just had a conversation about the importance of replenishing the tight end position, and you were noticing like all the great tight ends and how much that matters for the offensive line, and just kind of like, well, what if the Seahawks take a tight end in the first round? And the idea was like, this is not only an underrated need for Seattle, but like kind of an underrated part of successful offenses. And then, of course, you have an example of maybe the most well-known tight end outside of Kelsey, obviously, remaining in the playoffs, and he just
it's tough,
completely
man. Hard out there for a pick.
bombs. Yeah. What's last?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Last one. This was motivated by my newfound disgust for antics on the football field, the flopping, right? These referees have to do better. I feel like once a year, we've been doing this for like maybe 2-3 years now. Like once a year, I got to get at these referees, man. So this is the get at the referees, all right? So I'm gonna start with history. All right, or over history, we've seen these referees jack things up, and you have the opportunity to make it right, but the NFL doesn't make it right. You remember the missed call of Mike Tomlin when he's on the football field and Jacobs is running down the field. He's probably going to score a touchdown on the kick return, and Tomlin's on the field, and he scoots out the way, forces Jacobs to go inside. He gets tackled. The referees missed that. You got a sideline judge right there, and you missed that. And then you have cameras up top, and you missed that. You could have made that right. I'm going way back now. You got the coin toss with Jerome Bettis. Our guy, Big Ray, was on the field when that happened. He was the captain. He calls tails. It lands on tails. The referee gives the ball to the Lions, and the rest is history. Get it right. You got cameras. You got cameras right there. You have other referees to assist you. Get it right. Then we got the dad's catch. We talked about that. Same deal. Clearly was a catch. New York knew it was a catch. Get it right. Then you have the Saints sideline call, the one that changed the way that we look at pass interference. Wow. You could have gotten that right, too. You have resources. NFL, equip these guys. So now let's go to recent stuff. I'm going to go to ASU. Horns down, or forks down, Curtis.
Forks down. That's
forks
right.
down.
And
ASU.
horns down, too.
All right. They blocked. They kicked the field goal. Texas blocked it. The ball hits the ground, but still goes through the upright. The rule is that counts. The rule is that field goal counts. Assist the referee. Somebody buzz them and let them know that counts. ASU moves on to the next round. Then we got Lamar this past weekend. Lamar getting tackled out of bounds. He got tackled out of bounds. I watched this 3 or 4 times. 2 to 3 yards out of bounds, they pull him down to the ground. If he was wearing number 15 and he was wearing red and yellow, that would have been a flag. Be consistent. Be consistent. And then the last one, there was a face mask on the Commanders against Montgomery, and it wasn't a face mask. Young man pulled him by the shoulder. The arm crossed his face. They saw the head move. They called face mask. I understand why you would call that, but guess what? We got cameras. Get it right. And last but not least, the Mahomes penalties. I saw the rules analyst, Walter Anderson, go on game day, NFL game day, and he said, when in doubt, you don't throw the flag, referees, except if it's roughing the passer. Except when it's roughing the passer. You guys are protecting these QBs so much at any other rule. Hey, when in doubt, we're not throwing it. Hey, but if you touch that quarterback, we got to throw it now. That's the rule. They are taught to do that. It is
if you
crazy.
have doubt, they're like, just throw the flag. Except for roughing the passer, you can totally just do it if you aren't sure.
You just thought. And then I'm watching the film, and as he's analyzing it, and he's saying, "Oh, it's clearly there's helmet-to-helmet contact on that with Will Anderson." I go, "No, it's not clearly. He did not. The helmets did not touch. His helmet hit him in the chest." And this the way that the NFL protects these referees is crazy to me. You protect them and you don't support them at the same time. Like, come on, NFL, you got to do better with this. All these calls were bogus. You could have gotten it right, but you don't. Referees, NFL, we love you. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to give you my money, but we got to do better.
Let them know. Coming up next, the Seahawks have pick number 18 overall, so who should they target? ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed joins us to talk about Seattle's greatest needs. Plus, you guys are going to like this, a potentially good quarterback no one is talking about.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We saw some of these players highlighted there in the playoffs. You saw Jared Verse, who we've talked about. Did you draft the right guy? Byron Murphy was the first-round pick of your Seattle Seahawks, and then picked 19th overall. 3 spots later was Jared Verse by the Rams.
Byron Murphy was the best player left at number 16, and that's why they picked him.
You have to remember who the Seahawks were going into this draft. They were a team, a defense in particular, that was getting the ball run down their throat.
Read up on the latest news and opinions at seattlesports.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
In a sea of thousands of competitors, Riverside Roofing continues to stand out. And guess what? They got openings this winter for your roof project. Call 425-949-8252 or go to riversideroofingllc.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, January 29th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, January 29th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Congratulations to Ichiro Suzuki for being a near unanimous selection to the Baseball Hall of Fame yesterday. Ichiro was enshrined with 393 of 394 votes. That's right, one person didn't vote for Ichiro. Chargers pass rusher Khalil Mack won't retire after all. He's set to become a free agent for the first time in his 11-year career and told ESPN's Adam Schefter today he plans to play in 2025.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, it's ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed. Jordan, how's it going?
Hey, how are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you, man. I mean, I certainly wish we were talking about the playoffs or a conference championship game instead, but that's okay. We're going to figure out how this Seattle team can get back to one. We're looking at another kind of late teen mid-round pick for Seattle, which may not sound especially high to some teams. For John Schneider, that's a really solid position for him. When you look at this team, what did you identify, Jordan, as maybe their single greatest need?
Well, I think it has to be offensive line, especially the guard position. I think they need some significant upgrades in that area. And, you know, one possibility could be shifting Abe Lucas inside their starting right tackle just because of the durability concerns that he has had, and then drafting somebody in this offensive tackle class. But if they want to keep him at that right tackle spot, I would like to see them upgrade at that guard spot, whether it's Tyler Booker out of Alabama. I think he would be a really good fit. Armand Mimbo out of Mizzou is another name that you'll probably see commonly projected to the Seahawks. And then also Jonas Savania out of Arizona is probably another name that you'll see as well.
You mentioned possibly moving Abe inside. I think we had a conversation about that, Stacy and I, yesterday. What about his game makes you think he'd be able to handle the guard position?
Well, I just think the physicality that he plays with, which is something that I always love to see in those guards. And then also there's just something about what I like to call having those bumpers on each shoulder, just so you have that security with the center and then also the tackle. But as a tackle, you're always out on the island at that right tackle spot over your right shoulder. So it is a little bit different when you have those bumpers over each shoulder at guard, and you can protect them a little bit more in those protections as opposed to being on an island at offensive tackle.
Hey, taking a step back, Jordan, and kind of looking at a couple classes at once here, one of the things that we've heard from analysts all year long when we've asked them about the Seahawks kind of struggles to build an offensive line is, oh, well, this is a league-wide problem. And for us, sometimes it doesn't feel like that. You watch the Eagles, you watch the Bills, and you go, well, looks pretty good over there. However, I believe them. I know that many teams struggle with this. When you look at these classes, and I know you've looked at so many, do you see like a dwindling supply of NFL talent at guard or at tackle? Do you see, a bigger gap? What do you think is happening?
Well, I don't know if it's a dwindling supply. I think there's always going to be offensive linemen in every class, and it's very rare that you see a lot of those guys go early in the first round. There isn't a Quentin Nelson or anybody like that in this draft class or even in previous years, just because those types of players are so rare. So there's a lot of development that has to happen with those centers and guards and also tackles as well. But I think the limited practice time has really hurt a lot of the development of these offensive linemen. And then if you think about a lot of the college systems that these players are playing in, it's a lot of up-tempo. How many plays can I really execute in as little amounts of time, just because these teams are running, 70, 80 plays a game sometimes. So a lot of these offensive linemen, they're not really asked to sustain at the point of attack a lot of times. And that's completely different in the NFL. It's all about your strength and your power and then just your balance that you play with. So I think it's more so of the lack of development time and then just the difference in the offenses from going from college to the NFL.
Hey, I'm going to shift the conversation over to the wideout position. A decision has to be made over here with DK. We've spoken to several draft guys, and they say, look, this wide receiver pool isn't as deep as it's been in the past few years. Do you think if the Hawks were to move DK, there is a type of receiver out there that could come here to Seattle and not be a DK, but take that role?
Yeah, I mean, there's no DK Metcalf in his draft class, in my honest opinion, just because of how good he's been over the past few years or so. And, I would disagree a little bit about the wide receiver talent in this class. There's not that high-end talent that we've seen in years past, of where we've seen 4 or 5 guys go inside the top 20. But I think this is an overly deep wide receiver class. In day 2 and day 3, I think we're going to see a lot of guys go off of the board in that range. I don't think there's any top 5 or top 10 player in this class, in my opinion, unless you're counting Travis Hunter strictly as a wide receiver. And then, argument could be made about Tedorow McMillan out of Arizona, who some people have as that marquee player. But outside of that, there's a lot of guys that are worthy of going in that mid to late first round range and even into day 2. And I'm looking at Luka Burden at Missouri, Emeka Ibuka at Ohio State, who's one of my overall favorite players in this class. And one player that's surging up boards right now is Matthew Golden out of Texas. So there isn't, from a stature and physical standpoint, that DK Metcalf type of receiver. But as far as just replacing his production and then the spots that he plays in the offense, I think there's plenty of guys that are capable of that.
I know that this isn't going to be relevant to Seattle just yet. We are going to have a quarterback conversation, and many people want them to find Geno's eventual replacement. Neither of those are going to be Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. They're just not going to have a shot at them. But I'm curious, Jordan, about your take on both of these guys. Just from a draft perspective, I'm curious what you see.
Yeah, so I have Cam Ward of Miami as my quarterback 1. It's been that way for me really since September, during the earlier parts of the season. And you just look at the body of work with Cam, and every stop that he's been at, he's been productive, whether it's in the FCS ranks with Incarnate Word, Washington State when he was really productive there, and then most recently with Miami. Everywhere he's been, he's had a profound impact. Now, there are some things that he does need to clean up as far as just some of the reckless plays that he does have, and then just playing more in rhythm and on time and just taking what's available to him. Those are some of the things that are the next stage of his development. So I would like to see him improve there. But just from a physical standpoint, I think he has all the tools necessary to be a productive starter. And then Shedeur, very different stylistically, more of your own time in a rhythm type of thrower, really polished passer from the pocket, not an overly nimble type of athlete, but he does have enough to get himself out of trouble. Now, he does take some bad sacks at times, so he does have to improve on that, just taking his check down here or there. But he's much more polished stylistically. He can play in any type of offense, preferably a West Coast winner where he can get the ball out on time, attacking the short to intermediate areas. But stylistically, both of these guys are very different. But I do have it Cam Ward 1, Shedeur Sanders 2.
A conversation that we get from our listeners, or a statement, is like, hey, man, it's fine a quarterback late, and then you look at the playoffs now, you got everyone's a first rounder except for Jalen Hurts that are left in the playoffs. And I feel like they feel that way because of what happened with Russell Wilson. So what I've done is I try to go and look at some of these guys that might be later round picks. One of my favorites has been Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. Is there a guy that you feel like could be a later pick and be productive in the league?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think McCord is that one guy that I would have circled. And, he's been a revelation this year for Syracuse. He really had to reinvent himself after having a bit of an underwhelming season at Ohio State for their standards anyway. But you look at some of the throws that he's making on tape. I thought he played really well in every game outside of Pittsburgh, where he had that uncharacteristic 5-interception performance. But he's making some high-level throws. And, there's just something about being comfortable in the offense and just being relaxed in the pocket and just knowing where to go with the ball. And that's consistently what he was able to do this year. So I think he's one guy that could go maybe in the 4th or 5th round range. That's where I have him projected. It wouldn't surprise me if he does end up going higher than that. I think he's one player that's really going to help himself a lot, especially during this pre-draft process. And another name that's not really being talked about a lot that I will be willing to take a shot on in the later rounds is Max Brosmer out of Minnesota. And he has a bit of a crazy story. Was an FCS player for the first 4 years of his career, and then came to Minnesota, got off to a bit of a slow start, but really improved during the middle and then the back end of the season, this past season at Minnesota. And both of those guys will be at the Shrine Bowl here starting on Saturday, practice start on Saturday. So I'm really interested to get eyes on both of them.
Tell me a bit more about Max. I actually don't know much about him at all. I mean, when you said someone I'm really excited about, no one's talking about, I was like, I'm going to know. But I clearly I didn't. Tell me a bit more about him and why you think he slipped under the radar.
Yeah, so he actually started the first few years of his career at New Hampshire, put up ridiculous numbers like over 10,000 passing yards, over 60 touchdowns during his career. And he had some injury mishaps during the first few years of his career, but really came on during the backstretch of the year. And Minnesota got him out of the portal. And, he was great this past season, over 2,500 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions, I believe. But you look at the tape, he isn't overly gifted from like a physical standpoint. Like, he doesn't have a super strong arm, but he's one of those guys that plays on time. He's very decisive. He knows where to go with the football. His drops always marry up and match with the routes that they're trying to run, but he's extremely tough as well. And you look at those late round guys that have went on to succeed, he has a lot of those traits that align with that. So Max Brosmer of Minnesota is definitely one name that's not getting a lot of buzz right now, but I think he's going to get a lot more notoriety as we go through the process.
Man, when we look at the running spot, it's like Genty and everybody else. I had the privilege of covering some ACC games and fell in love with Hampton over there out of UNC. Are there any other running backs you feel like are going to be good at the next level?
Yeah, those two are actually my top two. So your eyes are not deceiving you at all when you're looking at both of those guys, Genty and Hampton. I think they're really good. But this is a phenomenal running back class. I think we could get over 30 drafted. Wow. And I think the last time that we saw that was 2017. There was 30 drafted in 2017. So this class could have as many as 30 or even more drafted. And, we saw two guys that I think very highly of in the national title game, and Quinshon Judkins, and then also Trevion Henderson, that dynamic duo at Ohio State. I think both of those guys are probably going to end up being second or third round picks. You look at Caleb Johnson of Iowa, who probably has a chance to go very early in day two. Devin Neal out of Kansas is a really good player. DJ Giddens out of Kansas State is another really productive player as well. Trevor Etienne of Georgia is another player. I just reeled off about 8 or 9 names right there that possibly could go in the third or fourth round as well. So this is a fantastic running back class.
Hey, one of the conversations that I think the sports world has been having with Jayden Daniels' season is like, oh, man, why didn't we see this from Washington, or why didn't we see this kind of, floor for Jayden Daniels in his first season? And conversations like that always make me think about my own assumptions every single draft class and then kind of learning from those. Jordan, you are a draft expert, right? Like, this is your job to know everything and be fully prepared. But to a higher level, are there things that you kind of look back on maybe each year and go, oh, I learned something from an assumption in this class?
Well, it's a great question, just because it's no surprise to me that the two best rookie quarterbacks were Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels. Both of those guys had over 55 career starts. And as a quarterback, being a former quarterback myself, there's no such thing as having too many reps in college. And you hear a lot of guys that are older, they're dinged for being older. I've never believed in that, just because there's never a such thing as having too many reps. Now, if a guy is 25, 26, 27 years old as a rookie, then yes, of course. But we're talking about both players that were 23 years old entering the process. Bo Nix had, I believe, 62 career starts. Jayden had over 55 in his career with Arizona State and LSU. So it's no surprise that the quarterbacks that had the most reps in college, they translated the quickest in the NFL. So that's something that I'm definitely going to take note of when I'm going through this process as well. Cam Ward, somebody that's had over 55 career starts. Quinn Ewers is another player that's also played a lot of football. Jackson Dart is another that's played a lot as well. So those players that have played a lot of football, it shouldn't come as a surprise when they translate so quickly in the NFL.
Hey, I wasn't surprised that Hunter got the Blitnikoff, but I had my eyes on Nick Nash. Man, I felt like he didn't get the love he deserved because of the level of football he played at. Where do you project he goes, and what do you think his career looks like?
Yeah, he's a really interesting player, tall, long strider that has fantastic hands. He's somebody that put up ridiculous numbers as well. If I had to give a range for him right now, probably I would say early to mid day 3 right now. It'll be interesting to see what he does run at the combine. I think that's something that's going to be really important for him. But we know the stats are there. It's just a matter of what boxes does he check in the pre-draft process, as far as the speed, the athleticism, and then just the consistency in that area as well. I think that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking for from him.
All right, Jordan, tell us what you got coming up as we lead up to the draft here.
Yeah, so I'm taking off for the Shrine Bowl. Like I said earlier, practice will start on Saturday, and then I'm going straight to the Senior Bowl in Mobile. After that, practices start next Tuesday. So we're really going to start to see some of these prospects differentiate themselves. And as draft analysts, we have what I call clusters with prospects. So we're going to be looking very closely at these practices to see who's really standing out amongst the competition, no matter what level they played on, during their career.
Anyone in particular you're excited to see in person? Maybe you haven't yet or haven't to the extent you'd like?
I'm a former quarterback, so I always look forward to seeing these quarterbacks in person. So I'm going to get a chance. Shedeur Sanders is actually practicing at the Shrine Bowl, so I'm looking forward to seeing him up close. And then we get to see Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, and Riley Leonard all playing together at the Senior Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see who really comes out on top in that bunch.
Hey, Jordan, this kid ain't going to be there, but holla at my boy Efton Chisholm III out of Eastern Washington University, man. Love that dude.
I definitely will keep an eye on him.
Appreciate you, bro.
He is ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed. Keep an eye out for his work, ESPN.com. Thanks so much, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you all as always.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what franchise do you think, Bump, will have the biggest turnaround next year?
I'm going towards the fraudulent division this year. The NFC North. These guys had us all believing in the hype. Had some good football, got into the playoffs, they disappointed. Ben Johnson is going over to the Chicago Bears. They got the number 10 draft pick, the number 41 draft pick. You better address that offensive line quickly. Chicago was the fifth least play action attempts last year. The Lions, number 1. We know he's going to do that. They were 25th in rush, and I think Swift has more in him. If you get that line together, you help him out with the pass game and play action, he's going to get going. But the biggest thing is, what's Detroit going to look like next year? Both coordinators are gone. I know the talent isn't depleted. You still got your quarterback, your tight end, wideouts. The defense is going to get healthy. But Coach Campbell clearly knows that it's not easy to get to the conference championship. He said that last year. You pointed it out. Hey, guys, remember what this feels like. No guarantee that you're going to get here. They didn't get there this year. They were the number 1 seed in the scene. Now, both your coordinators are gone. What are the lines going to look like? So the NFC North was the most dominant division this year. But I think that with Ben Johnson, if he can get Caleb going, if he can protect him, get him to get rid of the football early, get a run game going, they have a chance. Now, they won, 5 games this year, I think? Just win 8 or 9 games the following year and build off of that and strike while the iron is hot, because the NFC North is in shambles right now. The Vikings, you're going to have J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback. Is he going to be able to do what Sam Darnold did last year? The division that ran the NFC during the regular season might be one of the weaker divisions next year.
Second down. I like this question. What new head coach will have the shortest leash?
Aaron Glenn just got signed. 20 minutes ago.
The Jets are crazy?
Hey, he's going to be on a short leash just because they're the Jets.
Yeah.
Just because they're looking for instant success. I'm happy for the man. He's more than qualified. You're going to go over there with a defense on paper that has some ballers over there. You got Quinnen Williams. You got Sauce, of course, DJ Reed. They look good on paper. But if they don't come out and look like a 9-win team early, they're going to be looking at them differently. They're going to be asking you, look, it's not like you're coming over here and taking over a defense that it has to be rebuilt. The hardest part for him is what's going to happen at that quarterback position. So I love that Aaron Glenn got his chance, but I'm looking at his situation and Ben Johnson's situation, and he's on a shorter leash. You go to Mike Vrabel over there with New England. He's got some time. He knows crap. They're all good. Yeah. Jack's still looking for a quarterback. So far, Aaron Glenn has the shortest leash. I wonder what his approach is going to be with Aaron Rodgers. Do you want to bag? Do you want to move forward? You're not going to have a super high draft pick when it comes to the quarterback spot. You got number 7.
Yeah.
Who's going to be left? It's just the Jets are just a weird franchise.
Right.
And they're good enough on paper to win. So how are they going to view what Aaron Glenn does over there? It's an interesting situation. I'm happy for him, but we knew whoever took that job was going to be it's going to be in a weird spot.
I love this question. I love your answer. And it has me just thinking of a million things after the fact. One of them being like, which team might have the biggest gap between what an owner thinks they have versus what they actually have. And with that, you get a lack of patience. And I think the Jets would be right at the top of that list. But then I also thought they had more. Like, I looked at this roster when the season started, and them being not a Super Bowl favorite by any means, but an odds-on favorite to, compete with the Bills for the division. I was like, yeah, makes total sense. I totally see it. You've got Pro Bowlers on every level of your defense. I understand. I don't think Woody Johnson's wrong, but the most important piece is the one that you're currently struggling with. So,
yep.
Interesting. Third down. Who is a running back, if available late, you would want the Hawks to take a look at?
He ain't going to be available late, but Scatterboo if he is out there.
I was going to say Ashton Genty.
If he is out there just floating around, I think he made himself so much money this year just by the way that he performed. The Hawks got the 18th pick, the 50th pick, the 82nd pick, 136. I'm not looking at pick 80 or 50 for that young man. I'm looking at 82. If he's there at 82, then I think you got to take a look because the game is evolving and he's able to do a little bit of everything. I think Ken Walker can do everything. I think Zach Charbonnet is a good pass catcher too. But he is that home run type of running back without the home run type of speed. But because of his angles and the way he understands how to move people, he's got it in him. That is just a dream of mine. It ain't going to go down. But at 82, if Scatterbull is there, you got to take a strong look at him.
You said you like it at 82, but not 18 and 50, the Seahawks' first two picks. What positions, if not players, what positions would you like them to address with those two then?
Oh, you already know. You got to go offensive line.
Yeah.
O-line all day. And if there's another one out there that you like, go ahead and double up. Go ahead and double up. I mean, look at all the other positions. You feel good about every other position. If you let DK go, then okay. Tight end, I can see a tight end as well. If no offense, not there. There's this, the big boys, man. It's all about the bigs.
Not mad at it. Fourth down. We just spoke with, speaking of the draft, ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed. Anything stand out from Jordan?
Lots. The first one that stood out is there's no DK in this draft, he said. There is no DK. I just want to repeat that so people realize how physically gifted this guy is. He might not catch the football all the time or the way that you want to. He might not run the greatest routes the way that you want to, but there's no one else who can do what DK can do in this draft. So if you do feel like you want to move on from him, good luck. You're going to have to find a different receiver. QB Max Brosner, you asked him, look, any QBs that need to be looked at, 2,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. We're looking at late round picks now, right, when it comes to that quarterback position. Also, the one that just blew my mind, he said maybe 30 running backs could be drafted this year.
That was crazy.
30. So the last time it happened was in 2017. That is wild to me. And I'm looking at these guys. Obviously, you got Genty, Marion Hampton, who we talked about. He mentioned Travion Henderson. You got Quashawn Jenkins over there. Both those guys from Ohio State. Scatterbull, who I talked about. Tosh Brooks out of Texas Tech, who I think is a good running back as well. And the more I look at the list of the guys eligible for the draft, the more I see what he's talking about because I've got a chance to see a guy that no one really knows about it, Le'Veon Moss over there at Texas A&M. They are deep. This is the most natural football position to me. The most natural football positions are the running back and the edge rushers for me. They're really athletic. It's just raw talent versus raw talent. 30 of these things go during this draft, man, that's going to be wild.
850 says you wanted to take one of the bigs, take an offensive lineman at 18. They said, do we really expect a rookie to come into this offensive line and make a significant impact?
No, not at 82. Maybe at 18. Yeah, for sure. Happens all the time.
I think it's a fair expectation that the person that you draft at 18 is starting for you.
Yeah.
I think that's a completely fair expectation. Now,
he'll get every opportunity to start for sure.
Technically, the listener said make an impact, so I know I'm kind of answering the question I want to answer, which is will he start? Make an impact is a separate story. If you make a good pick, he makes an impact as a rookie. So we'll see what happens there. Bump, you aren't going to like me saying this, but you and the mayor of Philly have something in common.
Really?
You're not going to like it. That's next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
So we've been talking a lot about Clint Kubiak and Hank Fraley.
Every day at 7:45.
Why aren't we hearing their names elsewhere right now?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. I don't think the decision will be one that's like, ooh, how will this look to others? I got a lot of confidence that Mike McDaniel could care less about the rest of that stuff. That when he's got a conviction and he's going to pull the trigger, it's going to be on exactly what he's looking for in that position.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, January 29th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, January 29th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite. Now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 1/13 through 1/24. Cannot be combined with additional discounts while supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.
Cougar basketball is back.
These guys want to get better at basketball. They want to go as far as they can in the game. They want to get their education. They want to be around each other and build a real family.
Coach Riley and the Cougs are ready.
We put in so much work all of our lives for this exact moment.
We are Wazoo. It's only on your home for Cougar basketball.
Catch the Cougs all season long on AM 770 KTTH.
The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about around sports, stepping outside of Seattle for these. Bump, do you remember when you and I don't know why we were talking about it, but we were talking about spelling tests a while ago?
Yeah.
And
Eagle.
Yes.
I jacked it up.
Exactly.
E-G-L-E.
And your point
I
was
had
that
it.
you thought you had it, and you said it confidently.
Yeah.
You went up, was it a stage?
No, it was from the class.
Okay, you went in the front of the classroom, and you said, Eagle, not a problem.
Got it.
E-G-L-E, Eagle, book it, and then you turn around looking for that ribbon.
Yep. No ribbon.
Well, Philadelphia Mayor, is it Sherelle Parker, will never be able to live down misspelling Eagles in the team's famous chant.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Listen.
Oh.
I think that's worse than yours.
It is worse.
Yours
She's the
makes sense.
mayor.
I can see.
I was in second grade.
Okay, yeah, true. But even then, with the misspelling, I can kind of see it. I think there are adults that would be like E-G-L-E. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. Are there two E's before the last E?
She went E-L-G.
Listen.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles!
I don't even know. Elgsis.
Oh, man.
E-L-G. First three letters.
Man. The people behind her were getting it right. I heard them say it properly. You know, they probably looked at her like, man, are you even from Philly? What the heck?
To be fair, Jets fans also have the spelling J-E-T-S, Jets. Easier. Way easier, only 4 letters.
That's what it is. She's from New Jersey.
I can see how Eagles would be. It's a little tricky.
I know one Eagles fan that would never misspell it.
Running out of guys out here. We're on reserves, practice squad guys. I'm ready to roll if they need me. I'm 26 years old.
All ready to roll.
I played 2 years varsity. I'm in the best shape of my life. Let's go, Eagles!
Iconic. Next up, the Edmonton Oilers scored a goal last night, and you can give an assist to a fan's tray of nachos.
Corey Perry puts Edmonton right back in the game at 3-2. Logan Thompson. There's shrapnel on the ice, and the Caps are upset about it. Something came over the glass, and he says it distracted him.
That's right. It was a tray of nachos thrown onto the ice. Here's what Logan Thompson, the Capitals goalie, had to say after.
Yeah, it's I've never seen that before, and obviously I got to play to the whistle. That one's on me. But no, I talked earlier. I don't know, what the official ruling on that is. But yeah, just play to the whistle, and realize if there's stuff on the ice.
You weren't hungry. You didn't order them, right?
No, I should. Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't me. I saw the guy who threw him and wasn't too happy. So credit to him. He got them a goal.
Really weird, but my immediate thought was, if someone throws something onto the ice before the goal scored and it kind of distracts a player, does that still count? The answer is obviously yes, but I guess I was kind of surprised by that.
It still counts. It's like when golf patrons yell something before the golfer hits the ball. They get mad, but it still counts. They just get removed from the golf course. That is, you know what I appreciate about hockey players is that you don't get real good sound bites from them. They're going to say the right thing most of the time. Yeah, nachos are nice, but I got to keep playing. I got to play the whistle. They are like the last old school type of dudes when it comes to dealing with adversity and saying the right things to the media. So big ups to that goal. I would have been like, nah, man, they should run that back. That does not count. Nachos, you see nachos on the ice, you're not going to look at that thing? I'd be hot.
I would too. I would have been like, hang on a minute. I can't believe that we actually kept playing. So now every game the league's going to have, someone's just going to throw stuff on here and we're going to try to distract the goalie. That's the league that we want.
Saying.
Gary. I start getting real personal. Call Bettman
Mr.
now.
Bettman.
All of a sudden I'm a Karen. Back of my hair gets really short. The front's long. Call the manager of NHL. I have a complaint to make.
I can tell you that would never happen at Climate Pledge because no one is going to waste $25 by throwing nachos over the glass.
A very good point.
That's a lot of money. That's an investment.
The best we can hope for is kettle corn, frankly, at this rate. Next up, Tom Brady went on the herd today and squashed rumors that he's considering leaving Fox after the Super Bowl.
I've loved kind of just the whole process and diving into all these different teams. It's been a lot of growth for me in 1 year, and I really can't wait to see what it looks like in year 2 and way beyond that too. So I got 9 years left on my deal and maybe longer. You never know. If Fox wants me, then I want to go. We'll just keep going because it's been really fun thus far.
You know, when this report first came out that Brady would be leaving the booth and going into more of a management ownership role with the Raiders, I was like, this makes sense to me because it's not that the booth would be beneath him, but it's that Brady is an insane competitor who's very high up and pretty powerful as a former player. I could totally see him leaning more towards ownership, behind the scenes, controlling the levers, as opposed to talking about the game. I was so wrong. It sounds like he very much wants to stay.
That's the next best thing as a retired football player. Either you're coaching the game or you're calling the game. And me being a former football player, when I call games, that is as close as it gets to being in the mix. Also, $35 million a year.
Come on.
He ain't leaving.
Yeah.
$35 million.
Listen, he's got child support to pay.
Hey, that child's, man, imagine his child support. It's like probably $100,000 a month.
Wow, I don't know. So that is something I think about frequently when I see these celebrity cases that are like, the child support issue here is that child support is supposed to be $500,000 a month. And you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Crazy.
What?
He don't even blink at that, though.
No. Or like 50,000. It's just those are astronomical numbers.
Did you hear
insane.
50 Cent was paying his baby mom's $50K a month? She took him to court wanting more. Judge dropped that down to like $4,500, $5,000 a month.
No,
Getting greedy.
Completely backfired.
Getting greedy.
How do you need more? Now, maybe I'm stepping out of my lane, but how do you need more than $50,000 a month?
She's probably just looking at what he's making and was like, all right, well, I have his kid. Give me more.
Well, and I get the idea of being like, well, why wouldn't you want to spend that money on your kid? Or being like, I don't want this drastic change in quality of life when the kid's visiting you versus visiting me. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I want the least amount of disruption in what they're doing. So I get the reasoning.
$50K a month. Shut your mouth.
$50,000 a month.
And you're $10,000 a month on that kid. They'll be fine. You're doing something else with the $40K.
I think it's healthy that we went from a conversation about sports to one about child support. Specifically with
Is this the AM side? What are we doing? All right, FM. Sorry, FM.
This is AM.
This is AM.
This is
FM.
AM.
Sorry.
This is the AM
FM
side. Yeah, we're definitely going to get people just, hey, so you guys were talking about child support earlier? Yeah, I don't know. I like Brady hearing in the booth. Brady is a commenter. How'd you like him this year, by the way?
He got better. He got better. His voice is a little higher than I thought it would be on the mic because I've listened to him speak during competition, and it only gets high when he's like yelling. But when he's just talking to guys, it seems a bit lower. But I think that's what happens as you evolve as a play caller. Man, I remember hearing my first time calling plays and the things that I fixed and during the offseason, listening and all that stuff. So he'll get better, though. But no, I thought he did a good job. At first, I was kind of like, whatever. By the end of the year, you hear the progress. He did good.
You know what I appreciated most about Brady in the booth wasn't necessarily the insight, which is obviously invaluable and greatest of all time. Of course, you're going to listen, and those words carry weight. But it was who he kind of clearly approved of. Like who he was clearly impressed by carried a lot of weight for me as a viewer because he sees the game in ways I could never imagine. So when he comes away, it's when, like he was obviously gushing over Mahomes, calling that game against the 49ers, but like wildly impressed with Jaden Daniels so clearly on that call and in the post-game interview. And you're like, man, this guy, the best to ever do it is looking at this rookie going like, he's got his head on straight.
When you're getting compliments from Tom Brady, and it's the little things too. And I think he did a good job of explaining the game in a way that the common person can understand it.
Yeah.
Because he could clearly talk football over our heads and say things that wouldn't make sense to a lot of people. But he found his pocket, man. I can't wait to hear what he sounds like next year. But not at one point did I think he was going to leave $35 million a year on the table. He got 9 more years to go.
I should have looked at that number and been a little more realistic about that. I don't know what I was doing, thinking he would. We're taking a look around the NFL coming up at 12:30. The Jets have a new head coach, and we hear plans about what he wants with Aaron Rodgers. Again, that's coming up at 12:30. Taking a listen to the latest from Daniel Jeremiah next. He explains why he doesn't think the Seahawks can even do a rebuild.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
When you think of Ichiro, Brock, the first thing that comes to your mind is?
A hit machine, and the fact that so many kids, but for those of us that grew up in the Pacific Northwest in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and enjoyed wiffle ball, and to think you could go from the kind of junior wiggle, and then you got Ichiro and all of his mannerisms and tucking his sleeve up. I mean, just two of the iconic players to ever play the game of baseball, and they were right here in our backyard. Pretty special stuff.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance. but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. DayQuil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
DayQuil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, DayQuil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new DayQuil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It's time to vote for the top athletes and sports stories of 2024. Be part of history and help choose the sports stars of the year from a knockout roster representing the best in Washington sports. Cast your vote for the sports story of the year. Was it the Seawolves playoff run, the Kraken making history, or UW rowing dominating the Olympics? You decide. Vote now at seattlesports.org and enter for a chance to see the winners announced live at the 90th Annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft.
The Southern California Fire Disaster Relief Fund is now taking donations to help the victims of the devastating fires. You can help by donating at your local Safeway checkout today.
For decades, we've been more than just roofing. From siding and windows to custom decks and gutters, we've been helping customers protect and transform their homes. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing. I'm proud to announce our new name, State Roofing and Exteriors. The same trusted team, the same quality service, now with a name that says it all. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors. Your home, your way, held to a higher standard since 1968.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Tingling and numbness or burning pain in the feet or hands are warning signs of peripheral neuropathy. For years, Sound Pain Solutions has helped thousands using our innovative, narcotic-free approach. Now we're excited to introduce our most powerful treatment yet. I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We've discovered a new bioelectrical treatment that produces remarkable results. Studies show 85% of neuropathy sufferers report a 50% reduction in pain. Our new therapy can reduce pain and regenerate damaged nerves. It's performed by medical providers and naturopathic physicians. It's a breakthrough treatment that has changed the lives of thousands who suffer from nerve pain. At Sound Pain Solutions, all our therapies are non-surgical, FDA cleared, and narcotic free. Learn if you qualify for our new neuropathy treatment. Schedule a free consultation by visiting soundpainsolutions.com. soundpainsolutions.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Daniel Jeremiah was on Brock and Salk this morning and had a lot to say. We're going to cover this over 2 segments. Coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to talk about the latest, everything that we know about the Seahawks OC search. All the names linked, an interesting report from Albert Breer, some stuff in there from Daniel Jeremiah about that search, who he thinks the front runner should be, what his sales pitch would be for that person. Before we get to that, we're going to focus on one particular cut from Daniel Jeremiah. Bump, one thing you and I have heard a ton of, and this isn't a new piece of discourse. This was last offseason, the offseason before. This kind of happens anytime a team doesn't meet expectations or lets you down or disappoints you or feels like they're in, quote, the middle.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about a rebuild. Why not just tear it down and rebuild? Daniel Jeremiah explaining.
Well, I mean, you could make a case if you wanted to do the extreme rebuild and that potentially there's some exciting quarterbacks coming down the pipe here in next year. That I think there's too much there. There's too much to tear down to go all the way to the bottom. I don't think they're capable of going all the way to the bottom, and I don't think they have any interest in doing that. So when I look at some of their roster holes, I look at that offensive line, the interior of the offensive line. It's a good draft there. There's a lot of depth, and there's a lot of quality interior players.
Now, I'm going to start by saying I think that the way that some people describe the Seahawks as being middling or stuck in limbo is a little bit of an exaggeration. I find it frustrating they don't have more playoff wins and haven't found postseason success despite having winning records. That is frustrating. But I also think that if you are a 10-win team, you're a lot closer to 12 wins, a lot closer to being in the playoffs than you are to being a 5-win team. That being said, I understand the frustration. I get why people go, get rid of expensive contracts, get rid of old players, tear it down, be the Lions. Bump, what did you think of Daniel Jeremiah saying, I think they have too much to tear down?
Agree 100%. You're 1 win away from being a playoff team. We always point to the New York Giants game, the overtime game against the Rams. You are 1 to 2 wins away from being a playoff team. That's not a team that you break down and you tear down. You look at where the holes are. Everyone knows where the holes are. It's on that offensive line. If that offensive line plays just a little better, if Geno throws 3 or 4 less interceptions, these dudes are in the playoffs. So when I think of tearing it down, I think of teams that are 5 games and below when it comes to the win column. That's not what this team is. So I think that you have to be patient, and I'm sorry for saying that. I know they hate that word here in Seattle, especially when you talk about the Mariners and even the Hawks as of late, back-to-back years without making the playoffs. But you got to be patient. Second-year head coach coming in for this season. Going to make some moves with the offensive coordinator. I think we feel like if things were called a bit differently with the offense, maybe you have a chance to win those 2 games. Maybe if the defense has 2 or 3 more stops, you have a chance to win. So it's not far-fetched that this could have been a playoff team this year. That's not a team you tear down. That's a team that you continue to build with.
Well, and this is what I hate about the people who do push back against that point and say, like, I'm tired of being told to be patient when they compare it to the Mariners. There is a difference between missing the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, but you went to a Super Bowl in 2013, went back to another in 2014. Like, a decade ago, you had something really special. You just need to figure out how to tap back into it. There's a difference between that and not making the playoffs for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's a massive difference between Mariners fans being told to be patient and a Seahawks group that has a new head coach and a new coaching staff who got 10 wins, was the only double-digit win team to not make the playoffs, going, give us another year to figure this out. There's a massive difference. And to add on to that, I think it is easier for the Seahawks to get there.
Because, yes, everything you said, correct. You look at the Mariners roster and you think, there's not enough there. Not enough there.
Yeah.
You don't look at the Seahawks roster and say there's not enough there. If you do, then you don't know what you're looking at. We know where the holes are on this team. And I also think that Geno deserves an opportunity to play behind an offensive line that's a little better than what he had in front of him. Obviously, still need to take care of the football in that red zone. That hurt us. 2 against the Los Angeles Rams, and you get rid of one of those that was returned for a touchdown. You probably win that game. So when I look at this football team, I see a team that needs to develop and mature in a place. And there are contract situations that will affect how this team develops and matures. There's going to be probably a receiver that's not here next year that's going to open up some cap space. So you can probably go get yourself a veteran offensive lineman. You have the 18th pick in the draft. You can address your needs. It's not like we're looking at the O-line, the D-line, the running backs, the wideouts, and you need somebody from every position. I'm sure there are drafts in Schneider's history to where you need a hit on O-line, D-line, and one other skill position for this team to even have a chance, right, for them to even look like a playoff team. So, no, I think this team is in an okay spot. I think this year coming up is going to be crucial because time's running out. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do at your quarterback spot? What are you going to do at your receiver spot? There are things that need to be addressed, but there's nothing like just so vital to where you feel like if you don't hit on this position with this pick, this team stands no chance. I think you need to find some guys for the O-line, but I don't feel like this is a desperate situation.
No, I don't, and I think that this is not a team where, you know, I'm looking at them as like, oh, they should be a Super Bowl front runner next year.
Nah.
I think that the expectation that they improve on 10 wins is a completely fair one to have, and I would never critique a fan for saying next year, I'm really disappointed they didn't make the playoffs. I feel let down. Yeah, because that's the expectation. I mean, Mike McDonald, you set the bar, 10 wins. I know people will add a little asterisk to that final one against the Rams, but they weren't playing a ton of backups defensively. Yeah. You know, they still dropped 30. Like, this is a team that needs to figure out how to improve that protection for Geno, find a potential answer for Geno that you can develop, and then importantly, continue to grow and develop as a coaching staff. Like, you mentioned it, incredibly underrated part of development. I mean, if you look at the the Vikings going from 7 wins to 14, Sam Darnold's a big part of that, but so is Kevin O'Connell putting on a coaching clinic.
Yeah. The Hawks right now, ready for golf, Stacy? Here we go. Oh, God. The Hawks right now, this first year was the drive off the tee, and you're in the rough. It's not an ideal spot. You're not going to get as much distance on your second shot, but you're not OB. You're not in a hazard. You are just in the rough right now. That approach shot, we're in a par 5, Stacy, so you want to get on in 3 shots, right?
Yeah, well, I've done it in a double eagle.
You have, so you're much better than I am. So you're in the rough, and all you need to do is get back in that fairway. Just get back in the fairway and make things a little easier, and then your 3rd and 4th shot can be money. So it's just, we're on the par 5, man. Second shot on the par 5. Let's set yourself up for greatness later on. I don't expect an NFC Championship appearance. I don't expect a Super Bowl appearance, but I think it's safe to say, especially after the draft, we'll be able to break it down more, that the draft and the offseason moves will determine exactly what we expect, but no matter what, it's playoff or bust, I think.
Yep. Coming up next, everything we know right now about the Seahawks OC search. Don't go anywhere.
Ichiro is headed to Cooperstown.
The unbelievable has happened!
Celebrating the career of Ichiro Suzuki.
I may joke around, but I really think it's great that we get a chance to play together.
I agree. I'm here to tell you that Ichiro threw something out of Star Wars down there.
He had the most unbelievable ability to put the bat on the ball.
And a ground ball back up the middle, and there it is. He's a new all-time hit king.
Join Seattle Sports in congratulating Ichiro Suzuki on a Hall of Fame career with your Seattle Mariners.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 2 tickets to the ultimate big game tailgate party. Sunday, February 9th at the Muckleshoot Casino Resort Event Center. Enjoy an all-you-can-eat spread, a beverage garden, tailgating games, and watch the big game on huge screens throughout. Meet Seahawks dancers and players. Plus, enjoy giveaways and more. Visit seattlesports.com/win to enter. That's seattlesports.com/win for your chance to win.
In a sea of thousands of competitors, Riverside Roofing continues to stand out. And guess what? They got openings this winter for your roof project. Call 425-949-8252 or go to riversideroofingllc.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin D3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Cracked windshields happen, and if your car has a forward-facing camera, it needs to be recalibrated. All-Star Auto Glass is the professional choice for windshield replacement, repair, and recalibration. Call All-Star Auto Glass today.
Are you tired of having your money locked up in an annuity for 5 to 7 years? A CD that is only paying 4 to 5%? Or how about that underperforming IRA that you've lost track of? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. Our Legacy Northwest Fund is a 9% fixed income fund that only requires a 2-year commitment, and we are now opening our flagship fund to new investors. Legacy's Northwest Fund has had excellent performance with 0 investor losses for 16 straight years. I challenge you to find a better fixed income opportunity in the marketplace today. Come join the over 1,000 local investors with over $200 million invested.
Legacy's Northwest Fund is now open to new investors and paying 9%. Invest smart, invest local, invest with Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com. Legacy's Northwest Fund is available to accredited investors only and paying 9% APR. Terms and conditions at LegacyG.com.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly here from IRG, and Wednesday, January 29th, Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is having a free live webinar to talk all about stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join the free live stem cell webinar Wednesday, January 29th at 6 p.m. and learn all about stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Register at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Breaking minutes ago from Adam Schefter of ESPN, Trent Baalke is out as Jags GM. Owner Shad Khan said, quote, following several discussions with Trent this week, we both arrived at the conclusion that it is in our mutual best interest to respectfully separate effective immediately. Trent leaves us with my deepest appreciation for his efforts over the past 5 seasons. Meanwhile, the Jets have their new head coach as former Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
Seahawks still looking to hire their OC, a vacant position right now. We are hearing all kinds of rumors about names attached to the job, potentially what the job could look like. A late report from Albert Breer this morning. So let's dive into everything we know and everything you need to know about the Seahawks search for their next offensive coordinator. We will start with the top 3 candidates. All 3 candidates have had second interviews with the Seahawks. So these are the 3 names we're zeroing in on. They are Saints offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, Detroit Lions offensive lineman coach Hank Fraley, and assistant offensive coordinator for the Vikings, Grant Udinski. All have had second interviews with the Seahawks, and all have had varying degrees of support from other people. Bump, for instance, you really like what you've seen on tape from Clint Kubiak. Tell me a little bit about what you like.
Coobs. I'm sure they call him that. Sure they call him
have
Coobs.
to.
Got to be.
No one's calling him Clint.
Nah, no one's calling him that. What do I like about him? I like that his offense resembles some of the most successful offenses in the game right now. We're talking the Rams, the Niners, when healthy, the Niners, right? The Vikings, the Lions. And I feel like this personnel, you need another tight end. I feel like obviously some offensive linemen, but I feel like you can do more with less with this offense. And the reason why I feel that way is because there's a lot of deception, leaking out the tight end, using your running backs in the pass game, having a fullback that can influence how they stack the box up and leaking him out as well. The play action boot, the naked boot, like all of that stuff allows you to do more with less. I think a perfect example of that is how Sam Darnold was able to have the season that he had. We know he is talented throwing the football, but he has some years where no coaches believed in him. You're with the Jets, no one believes in you. You're with the Panthers, they don't believe in you. With the Niners, you're just a backup. And then you come over here and the rookie gets hurt and you have an opportunity to go. I love the shift, the movement, the using the jet action, all of that stuff that makes a defense have to think. Straight up offenses do not force defenses to think. I got a note from someone in the NFL watching the Seahawks offense and said
I too know people in the NFL.
It was too basic. They said it was too basic. They said
Okay,
it was.
so they were talking about the offense under Ryan Grubb, and someone in the NFL told you that offense is too basic.
Said it was too basic. He said at times he showed that he can mix some things up, but for the most part, what you saw was what you get, and it was easier to defend.
Were you at all surprised to hear that analysis?
Kinda, because I thought, no, actually, because when he started talking, I'm like, too basic, but then I started thinking about the times where I felt like it was being connected, and then he goes back to, but at times it was, so no, I was shocked at first, and then as he continued his analysis, I'm like, all right, I see where you're going with this. So, yeah, I think I'm just mixing it up. And big ups to Grubb. He's going to mix it up wherever he's at.
Yeah.
I know for sure he's going to mix it up.
You're not alone in liking what you've seen from Clint Kubiak's offense when it's really rolling and when he doesn't have everyone injured. Daniel Jeremiah this morning with Brock and Salk said this.
I would sell you on the fact that half the league runs this offense. So, in terms of finding players and fitting players in, you get free agents. There's a pretty good chance they've played in this offense before. So you have some familiarity there. It has success. There's a lot of teams that run it. There's a lot of teams that have been very successful with it. You can rely on a little bit. You don't have to have 330-pound, mauling offensive lineman. You can take a little bit of an undersized player who's really athletic. My challenge with this scheme, and you saw it in the Houston game, is that, and you see the stats with Shanahan, when you get down and you're behind in this scheme and there's no illusion of run, you are in deep trouble.
I loved him mentioning Shanahan. So Clint Kubiak is part of the Shanahan tree. His brother is actually still on Shanahan's coaching staff. In the wide zone offense, they're talking about, infinitely more than I do. All I know is that that's also what Shanahan runs. And that really has drawn a ton of interest over the last couple of years. Obviously with what Kyle Shanahan has been able to do with it. But once he said, you've seen what can happen when you get behind, I immediately thought of that stat of Kyle Shanahan's record when they are lose a 10-point loss or a lead at any point. Or basically when they fall behind, it becomes tough. So they just kind of stay ahead and remain really powerful.
You know what I would say to that is that that happens all throughout the NFL. when you are down and you are forced to throw the football, you get predictable because they're going to drop back in the zone. They're going to rush 4. They're going to drop 7 and say, all right, take your pick. Good luck. Or they're going to pressure the heck out of you because they know you're going to throw the football. I think Jeremiah's right, but I also think that that's common throughout the game of football on every single level. Once you become predictable, it's harder for you to move the football down the field. I liked what Kevin O'Connell did. Kevin O'Connell, when they were in the Vikings, when they were in shotgun, 95% of the time they were throwing the football. It is what it is. You know we're throwing the football. But he had route runners and combinations that worked. Jeremiah, absolutely right. But it's not just reserved for that style of offense. It's any offense out there. You are down 2 scores, second half, late in the game. Everyone knows you got to throw the football.
Let's talk about 2 other names that got second interviews before we'll get to a newer name thrown in here who got an interview over the weekend. Grant Udinski, a 28-year-old assistant offensive coordinator from the Minnesota Vikings. I read a column on him, and I also listened to Brady talking about him this morning, Brady Henderson of ESPN. And Brady's description of Grant Udinski's job stood out to me. Said nothing about his offensive ideas, which we don't really have a chance to see. He's not a play caller, but did say, when you see someone, especially someone young, and he has a very fluffy title that doesn't really exist on every team, like assistant offensive coordinator, it usually means that another team was trying to poach him, badly wanted him, and his own team decided to pay him a lot of money and give him some kind of title to keep him. So clearly this is a rising, I don't know about a rising star, but a name drawing a lot of attention in NFL circles.
Yeah, I think obviously Brady knows. Absolutely right. You make up titles for people that you want to keep. My concern with him is the same concern that I have with Fraley's, is that they just never been in the fight, and calling plays or whatnot. But I feel like Fraley's been closer to the fire. You know, he feels the warmth, whereas Udinski is he's around it, but he's keeping his distance a little bit, and he's learning. So he could be the next best thing up. And I think at some point, organizations are going to have young guys who they're grooming to take over and be the guys eventually. I just want someone who's a bit closer to calling plays if he hasn't called plays already. And to me, that'd be Hank. But no, I'm not hating on nobody. If Udinski comes in, here's the thing is that whoever they bring in to me, I'm going to roll with. And the reason why I'm going to roll with it is because I think that Mike has learned so much this past year that he's going to be able to check more boxes and eliminate more candidates fairly quickly because he's been through the struggle with the coordinator that he didn't really see eye to eye with when it comes to philosophy. If Udinski is the guy, then he must have really impressed Mike, and of course I'm going to ride with him.
Let's go to Hank Fraley then. Luke Wilson tweeted out support for Hank Fraley, a big fan of his. Hank doesn't have, as you mentioned, play calling experience, offensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, and there's a ton of intrigue that comes with that because you think, God, the Seahawks can't get the run game going, can't for the life of them figure out how to build an elite offensive line. Look at this person bringing in valuable experience. The knock on him being Bump, obviously, no play calling experience as a coordinator, and I think people look at the personnel the Lions have up front on their offensive line and they go, well, how hard is it to make these guys Pro Bowlers?
Yeah, talent matters. You got to have your talent. But another analysis that I've heard of Hank is that he's just a great teacher. And that's what you need with an offensive line that's not going to be full of Pro Bowlers in 6 or 7 months. You got to teach. You got to teach the guys that are already here. Can he take Haynes to the next level? Can he take Laumea to the next level? Can he help Olu be more consistent? You have to think about the guys who are already here and try to aid them as much as you can while adding depth to that position. And I think if we're focusing on the offensive line, Hank is probably the best for that situation. The question is, calling plays. Never called plays before. Here's what I do know. I do know that Hank has a headset on during the game. I do know that Hank is communicating and listening to play calls and situations, and he's involved in the game plan. He doesn't just show up to practice and say, all right, what are we doing? No, he's watching film. He's grinding tape. He's putting his input in there. He's more involved in what people might think. I think people just think he's an offensive line guy. He stands to the side and just coaches his guys up, which he does. But as an offensive line guy, you are so involved in the game plan.
What do you want in an offensive coordinator to come here? Specifically for this Seattle team, like what do you really hope they find?
A developer, someone who can develop. Because we were talking to Jordan Reed earlier, and he mentioned that because there isn't a lot of time in practice in the NFL these days, it's hard to develop. So you have to be extremely efficient with your time, with your individual drills, with your 9-on-7, with your 11-on-11, with your goal line. And then you take all that practice, you watch film, and you got to be able to teach. You got to be able to connect with the guy, say the right things that make sense for him to allow him to take that next step forward. That's the main thing that I want, because I think that you don't have to have a playbook with like 1,000 plays. You got your 5 runs, you got your 15 pass concepts, and then you build off of that, and whatever your team can handle, then you start to open it up a bit more. You just got to be really good at what you're really good at. And if you can do that, now you can open some things up. And how do you get really good at that stuff? Teach and develop, which is, and I think people think that guys come into the NFL as products that are ready to go. That's not it most of the time. You do get your Jaden Daniels sometimes who come in and light it up, and he's still got some work to do. You still have your Caleb Williams, who I think had a good year, come in and play some good football. You still got some things to do. There's a reason why Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers were successful off the top, because they got to sit and develop. Josh Allen wasn't successful off the top. He was winning ball games. He was turning that thing over. Yep. So it's about developing, man. And if you can put some plays together, you've been around good coordinators, you can pick up on them, but there's nothing like calling that 3rd and 2 on the opponent's 20 and trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do.
One more name before I get to that report from Albert Breer, which if you're just now joining us is going to be news to you. If you were here at 10:30, it's going to be a little bit of a repeat. Hang tight. Byron Leftwich got an interview over the weekend. I didn't read too much into this, though I thought Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times joined us, and I thought his overall take on Byron was really interesting, which is everyone was fascinated and intrigued by this guy. And then he just didn't get the head coaching job and kind of fell off the map. But there was a minute when everyone was like, wow, what he's doing is great.
Yeah, he was working with the GOAT. He was working with Tom Brady, and they were throwing the football a lot. I believe they were like 1st and 2nd in attempts. When it comes to running the football, they were 1st to 2nd to last in attempts there. Byron Leftwich is interesting because when we spoke to Rick, he made it clear that he's a guy you want in your building.
He liked Byron.
Right?
Like he really clearly did.
Personality-wise, work ethic. He's a guy that you want in your building, but is he the right guy for this building when you look at what Mike McDaniel is looking for? And it's unfortunate because you're a victim of your personnel at times. And when Byron was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the running back room wasn't great. And you got Tom Brady, you got Mike Evans, you got Scott Miller at the time, I believe, was on the roster as well. You got guys on the outside who can get it done, and you want to put the football in the hands of the guy who has been trusted the most in NFL history, Tom Brady. Like, why not throw it 50 times because Tom Brady's there? So I don't know if this was, or if that was an example of what his offense is, or an example of him being restricted to his personnel. That's the toughest part. What we do know is that he's a guy that you want around. He's a guy that doesn't like ruffle feathers and stuff. You know, he's a good character type of dude. But the film has to fit what Mike McDaniel wants, and when you watch that film, there's nothing that says this is the dude for the job here.
I have some breaking NFL news in about 5 minutes before we get to it. Let's revisit that report from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer. He says he thinks the Seahawks are considering the possibility of splitting up the job, meaning they bring in someone like Lions coach Hank Fraley, who oversaw the offensive line there, and he can help with the run game here. And then Fraley, as technically the offensive coordinator, would hire a pass game coordinator to not be play caller by any means, but oversee that part of the game. It's something the Seahawks have done before a couple years ago. It's something other teams have kind of done. But, Bump, you pointed out that you do run the risk of that too many cooks in the kitchen moment.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not ideal, I don't think. But whoever the coordinator is, he's going to have his right-hand man, right? If he is a quarterback guy, his O-line guy is probably going to be his right-hand man. If he's an O-line guy, the quarterback guy or receiver guy is going to be his right-hand man. No coordinator just goes about this on his own and game plans everything by himself and says, okay, guys, this is what we're running. You're taking input from all your coaches, from typically your O-line coach, and depending on how veteran your receiver coach is, you might chime in there as well. But it's quarterback, O-line, OC, quarterback, O-line, OC. Mm-hmm. They all work together anyway. It gets complicated when you start giving the titles and bigger responsibilities to a guy who typically isn't going to call a play. Like, what's that relationship going to look like? It could work, but I prefer for the OC to be the OC and you delegate other responsibilities to your position coaches.
Do we think they make a hire soon? I feel like they need to.
It'd be nice to. If they haven't yet, right? We've had Udisky he had a second interview as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, the other wrinkle that I was going to add that's like the news quote is that 2 of your candidates were interviewing with other jobs who have already hired OCs, the Patriots and Browns. So 2 of your top candidates don't have the same number of opportunities.
Yeah.
Was kind of the bit of news that I was going to add. But we've seen to your answer, we've seen the Browns hire their OC, Jets hire their OC. We've heard rumors of a couple people on Ben Johnson's staff who could be linked to him. So those jobs are starting to fill up quickly now that head coaches have been hired.
So there's 2 ways to think about this. Either they like the guys who have been in for a second interview and want to dive deeper, or they're waiting for somebody on one of these teams that are in the playoffs still.
Yeah. All right, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, at long last, the Jags have announced they're parting ways with GM Trent Baalke. What's the real headline?
They didn't balk at the opportunity to move on because it's bulky, but it's bulk. They didn't bulk, but then it's a play on words.
Got him.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as your owner says they would consider moving on from you and you're in the room on the Zoom, like, I'd be like, I would tell myself, man, you might as well start packing your stuff, dog.
Guess I got to look on LinkedIn.
Well,
Right. He didn't even have my back in that situation.
No, we saw how many people, Jordan Schultz among them, plenty of reporters were surprised that Baalke was retained after yet another head coach was fired. And they were like, hey, at a certain point, you got to do your job as the GM. And now there are rumors that maybe it was tough for the Jags to find people for their coaching staff and to kind of move on because people didn't want to work under Baalke. I don't know that that's true, but I think it's an assumption some people are making.
Yeah, my man was out, like I said, as soon as old boy didn't have his back in that interview. Didn't even fake it. It's like, I guess I would consider it.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell not going anywhere. He signed an extension to remain with Minnesota. What's the real headline?
They might not keep Sam Darnold, but they did hold on to the biggest reason for his success.
If he can get Sam Darnold to do what he did, I think the chances J.J. McCarthy looks better than your average rookie is great. I'm not expecting J.J. to come out and hit the numbers that Sam Darnold hit. I think the Vikings nation have to prepare for maybe a step back. 14 games they won this year? I don't see 14 games in their future next year. If you can get to 9-10, I think you're moving in the right direction. It's unfortunate because you've accelerated this process when you're on the outside looking in, but as soon as Sam Darnold is no longer on this roster and you're dealing with a rookie, you got to deal with rookie mistakes. Can he be the Jaden Daniels? If we get 3 years in a row where a quote rookie quarterback, because JJ didn't play this year, goes out and does some great things, we got to start clapping our hands for these coaches and the schemes that they're putting these guys in. I don't see that happening with JJ, though. Can he be a good quarterback? We shall see. But the fact that they do run the football and use play action and stuff, I think is better for him. Comes from Michigan. That's all they did was run the football and play action off of that thing. He should see some similar concepts in this offense.
I do like, now this is only an aside from your point, but I do like that in back-to-back seasons, we've seen these like record-breaking, unreal seasons from C.J. Stroud in 2023 and Jaden Daniels in 2024 because both are such monstrous statistical outliers that they then set this kind of fake bar. But they are doing things that we don't typically ever see from rookies. It just so happens that it's this recency bias because it's in back-to-back years. People are going to be like, whoo, what's Cam Ward going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, in addition to getting elected to the Hall of Fame yesterday, Ichiro will join Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar as the only Mariners to have their jerseys retired. What's the real headline?
Next up, let's retire the idea of a wild card banner. I'll add that to the list of things we can retire to.
So, at T-Mobile, is it, I forgot.
Okay.
Is it one big wild card banner or is it like wild card and it says the year on it?
Yeah, but
So
I don't think they
room,
had that before.
So they could put another year under there.
Yeah, there's room for more years.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's harder.
Slightly more acceptable.
No, I think it's harder to take down because you got all that space. It's like, where'd it go? With just one big one, it's kind of like, all right, I guess I see what's going on there. Either way, I don't agree with it.
Am I being, okay, I was going to ask, am I being unfair in thinking, congratulations to Ichiro, obviously, but the bigger thing here is the joke. Am I being unfair in thinking a wild card banner is like kind of...
At high schools, they hang banners for league championships. in state championships.
That's it.
Not an appearance in the state championship.
I don't want to take away from what was an incredibly fun wild card series. Improbable comeback win to take game 2, obviously, and advance to the divisional round. I just want more, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to look down my nose at a playoff appearance for the first time in 20 years, but I also don't want to act as though that's where the height of accomplishment ends.
You know what it is? That is a culture setter. So when you celebrate little things like that, it's not little because of the history of this franchise and not going there for 20 years or whatnot. But the fact that you're celebrating that makes it, okay, that's a standard. That's a goal. Yeah, that should be your goal, your standard every single year, is to at least get into the playoffs and make the wild card. It should be to win your division and then win the big one. I don't agree with it, but I also understand why they put it up, because they're trying to give fans something to celebrate.
Yeah, of
but
course.
when you do that, into the next couple years, you don't come, well, I guess you're kind of near, but you don't put out a product out there that people think that you can at least repeat that. That's where the problem shows
I think
up.
what gets me too is that the year started. Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong. The 2023 campaign was CS Rise, or was 2024? What
It
was
all
the one
kind
where
of
it was like
blends together.
CS Rise on, and the idea
That
was
wasn't
like
last year, that
we're
was the year
going to be
before.
in a World Series.
That was after the.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the idea was,
So,
hey, we made it to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
2023, they had that hype video on opening day
That's
with
what I'm
Scott
thinking
Service
of.
writing on the
Yes.
whiteboard.
Yep.
2023 goals World Series.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking of.
They did not get there that year.
You can't make that your public goal and then not continue to strive for that.
You know, and it's not even on marketing.
No,
because
they have an amazing
they gotta roll with it, right? They gotta roll
Mariners
with
event
that.
stuff is
It's
amazing.
on ownership not allowing Jerry the necessary funds to go get it, because as a marketing, you're looking at this team, we made it to the wild card, let's go, hey, we rising, guys, we're finally doing it. And you have this off-season meetings, and this is how we're going to campaign, all this stuff, and then opening day shows up and you're like, man, this roster is not CS Rise. It's just come see us.
Please. It's not CS Rise. It's just come see us.
see us.
Come hang out.
We got things for you here.
I mean, look, okay, so yesterday we had Buster Olney on, and you were like, Buster, people are asking for you to please give us hope for the Mariners. Like, say something for a Mariners fan. And he said, I mean, I don't think the Astros are going to be as good.
Yeah.
Like, I think that their, quote, step back, or like issues that they had last year
Another team got worse.
was not an aberration. Yeah, and it feels like I know he said that's like a backdoor kind of answer, but hey, Mariners, if once again your division is way more wide open than you anticipated it would be, because the Astros for so long have just dominated it, come on, man.
Hey, you got a chance.
Seize it. I beg of you. All right, you guys. We're going to bring on ESPN's Alden Gonzalez coming up at 1 p.m. I don't know that he knows who didn't vote for Ichiro, but I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask anyways. He also has a really cool story about some of the best Ichiro stories as told by his former coaches and teammates. It's just a great listen, a great read. That's coming up at 1 p.m. Before we get to that, Russell Wilson downplays reports of a rift. Plus, there's a clear frontrunner for the Dallas Cowboys head coaching job. That's next.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Hank Fraley is coming to Seattle for his second interview for that OC gig. If you were him, what would you highlight?
My influence on the run game. Detroit ran the ball 47% of the time. If you ran the ball 47% of the time or more, you made the playoffs. The top 7 teams when it comes to rushing percentages are all playoff teams.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
At Sound Pain Solutions, some of the most difficult cases we see are patients suffering from failed back surgery syndrome. Bill is an avid golfer, but his pain got so bad he couldn't play and was considering surgery.
My back was killing me. I could not play any more golf. I could not walk more than half a block. I did not want surgery on my back, and I researched many different ways of getting this fixed. Behind that was horror stories from my friends who had back surgery, but it wasn't worth it. And I just made conclusion to that. There's got to be another way.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We were able to get Bill back on the course without the risk of surgery. We did this using non-invasive, FDA-cleared procedures like non-surgical decompression, laser, pressure wave, and bioelectrical treatments. Now, Bill is back to playing golf and enjoying life. Schedule a free consultation to learn if you qualify for our non-surgical and drug-free treatment by calling Sound Pain Solutions or visiting soundpainsolutions.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
4 down territory. Going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for my friends at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Yes, I said and hotel. If you're looking for a fun night out, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel is just the place to go. Whether it's Vista Prime Steak and Seafood with their reimagined happy hour or Falls Buffet as well. The breathtaking views of the Snoqualmie Valley and Mount Si. You can find all the details at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Only 30 minutes from downtown. Seattle's closest, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we're going to start with ESPN New York's Michael Kay saying he's heard Aaron Glenn, new head coach of the Jets, wants to keep Aaron Rodgers in 2025.
The one thing that you have to worry about is the head coach's salary. That doesn't go past anybody's salary cap. Now, whatever they pay Aaron Glenn has made it known that he would like to keep Aaron Rodgers. And I really do believe that that's the way to go. I said this on Friday, and this is coming from a guy. I'm not enamored with Aaron Rodgers, both off the field and on the field. But I need to have a better answer if you're going to tell Aaron Rodgers, okay, we're good. I need to have a better answer. I need to know exactly where's the pivot. Where are you going if you don't bring back Aaron Rodgers?
Here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers' bump. The season that he put up with the Jets this past year, was pretty much the season he put up in his final year with Green Bay. 3,800 yards, 3,600 yards with Green Bay, 28 touchdowns, 26 with Green Bay, 11 interceptions, 12 with Green Bay. It wasn't like a horrible season. It's just not MVP. It's not Aaron Rodgers.
Can we expect MVP from a man who's 40 years old? I know Tom Brady went nuts. I believe he had like close to 5,000 yards, 30-plus touchdowns.
In that Super Bowl year.
Yeah, but I think it's Tom Brady, though. For Aaron Rodgers, it's more of playing well in big moments, being a leader out there. That's what you're buying into when you get Aaron Rodgers. You're going to have a decent season statistically, but it's about taking the next step forward, and it didn't look like he did that. I understand why Aaron Glenn would want to keep Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to draft a rookie and then throw him into the situation and expect him to win ball games. But we've also learned that Aaron Rodgers don't like to mentor anybody. But I understand why Aaron Glenn wants to keep him. So it's a weird situation.
Would you hang on to Aaron Rodgers? If you were Aaron Glenn being hired for this job and you knew we're not going to get one of the top two quarterbacks, what are the draft order? It's
I think they're number...
Browns are 2, I think. Patriots are 1. I'm blanking.
Right now. They are... Jets are number 7.
They're not going to get one of the top two quarterbacks. If you knew that you weren't going to do that, would you keep Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I would keep him.
I know. I think that New York host is Michael Kay, clearly, is right. That it's kind of what you got to do. The Raiders will hire John Spytek as their next GM. He was the assistant GM for the Buccaneers, worked for Tampa Bay when Tom Brady led them to a Super Bowl title in 2020. Tom Brady's still getting people jobs this week. Spytek and Brady also attended Michigan at the same time, which is wild.
Give Byron Leftwich a job then, Tom Brady.
Come on, Tom.
He OC'd for you. But honestly, can't even fake it. I don't know much about this guy. Sounds like his connections are good, and he knows what winning looks like. So that is a great start.
Well, and it sounds like Brady, obviously, as a minority owner with the Raiders, again, I don't know that he got his friend this job. This guy was already, an assistant GM with the Bucs. But I wonder, the more people you know in this front office, I wonder how big your influence becomes over who they pick and the decisions they make.
Oh, yeah. Influence is everything.
Interesting.
It's everything.
Bears head coach Ben Johnson had his introductory press conference today and managed to get in a shot at the Packers.
I know this is the toughest division of football right now. There's 3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Having competed against them for the last 6 years. Dane Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Good-natured fun.
Listen, he's reading, so he wrote that down.
Yes.
It was a conscious decision to take a shot at LaFleur. You better be careful, bro, because y'all got some things to work out. I think you can have a big turnaround. I think you do some stuff. But if you look at what the Green Bay Packers got coming back, and you look at what you got coming back, Green Bay's a better team, my man. So I hope you hit up LaFleur before or after that and let him know, hey, bro, I'm going to take a shot. It's all in fun.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get people in Chicago hyped up.
It's kind of like as OC with the Lions. It's like if you were taking a shot at someone or talking trash, but you have a giant bodyguard behind you because it's the Lions and they have this amazing roster. And then now he's like, and what, Matt? Am I right? He looks behind him. It's just Caleb Williams shrugging.
He looked like one of those YouTubers that walk around pranking people with
Jack
a bodyguard.
Doherty, the worst.
Yeah, like, come on, bro.
Oh, that kid's so annoying to me. Brady, you're already shaking your head. I know a lot of people listening are like, who's Jack Doherty? He's just this annoying YouTuber that walks around and he gets in people's face, but he has a giant bodyguard. So no one can do anything back. I hate it so much. On today's Pat McAfee show, Russell Wilson downplayed rumors of a rift between him and Steelers OC Arthur Smith.
You like Arthur?
Oh yeah, I like Arthur. I think everybody tries to.
Hey, there's reports you hate him.
Anytime you lose the game or two, or you know, whatever goes on, people always try to tear things down. I think Arthur's just a great coach. I think obviously has been a head coach, you know, and we love trying to find ways to compete every day and just get better. And so, you know, he's a great coach.
I appreciate Pat for trying. There's reports you hate him though.
What else do we expect Russell Wilson to say?
Nothing.
He's not going to say, yeah, actually, you know, we had some tough times, but now we're good. He's not even going to give a hint of there's something else going on. I also read an article this morning that said, headline was like, Russell Wilson wants to be in Pittsburgh for a long time. It's like, if that's his motivation, he's putting that out. Why would you knock the man who's going to call plays for you? They probably had something going on at some point, but there's no way Russell Wilson, the guy who puts no negative news out there, is going to willingly admit that they had something going on.
If you're the Steelers, do you hang on to Russ and Justin Fields this upcoming season?
Yep, I do it.
I think that this is such a weird quarterback market. We'll talk about it a little bit at 12:45, kind of going over maybe some names that we heard from Jordan Reed or potentially what to do with Geno. It's like everyone wants to talk about what to do at quarterback for the Seahawks, and then it's such a weird market.
Yeah,
like,
it's interesting.
A lot of these teams, Jets might keep Aaron Rodgers. Steelers might keep both of their guys. And both teams were panned at one point or another for their quarterback situation, and neither may make a move.
I feel like you can get something out of Justin Fields, though. Like, if you do want to move him, I don't know if you get a first round, maybe a second round. You could do something with Justin Fields, but how much do you believe in Russell Wilson? Because he played decent football over there. He didn't play horribly, but his numbers weren't crazy. When Justin Fields was the quarterback, they were winning, but doing it in a different way. And when you look at his numbers compared to Russell's numbers, if Justin were to continue on that path the rest of the season, it'd be comparable. So it's interesting over there.
Brian Schottenheimer, the clear front runner for the Dallas Cowboys. I think earlier this week I talked about, hey, he's the odds-on favorite to get the job in Vegas. Well, he now will have a second interview with the Cowboys today after having his initial one yesterday.
That's the easy one. That's
easy one? Are you disappointed by that?
That's like playing tag and going after the slow kid because you know you're going to get him, right? Go after the fast kid. Go after the athletic kid. He's in-house. He knows Jerry. Jerry knows him. It's whatever feels right for Jerry, but things that have felt right for Jerry haven't gone right in 30 years. So that's why I think that he should go outside of the building and find yourself something new and something fresh.
Why do you think a lot of owners don't do that? I mean, we were just talking about Mike Vrabel being hired, but also Josh McDaniels being brought in a third time at OC for the Patriots, and just kind of this like familiarity and comfort. I mean, earlier I opened this segment talking about Trent Baalke being there through two head coaches and people wondering how the heck he still had that job. Like, why do you think so many owners hang on to guys or go to the same candidates over and over?
It's chemistry. I know this guy. I've been around him. That new relationship, it's not difficult, but it's just different. You're learning on the job what he likes, what he doesn't like. With this, it's comfortable. You know, like when you're like 50 years old and you break up with your girl, man, you probably it was easier just to stay with her. I should just stay with her. Actually, you know what, Susan, let's try this again.
Susan, I'm sorry. Susan, we're gonna make it work. Yeah, I think we all want that really young, exciting hire of like the Ben Johnson, or I keep seeing a ton of people say, what about Grant Udinski for OC for the Seahawks? But like, I really do think you're right. There is a familiarity and a trust that goes with people going, but I know this guy.
I know what to
this
expect.
guy. He's not going to leak information. He's going to be able to coach guys.
I know his day-to-day. I know his work ethic, you know?
Well, and people don't want to admit it, but sometimes and I know his dad.
Yeah.
And I hired his dad, or and I know, his whole family, or
yeah, I know what coaching tree comes from, and I like the roots from that coaching tree.
And I can completely understand. I really can.
If I were to get a high school coaching job right now, I'm calling everyone I know to fill those positions. And then if I can't fill them, now I'm going to open it up to the public and see what I get.
sometimes that works out, though. Like, I was not that excited about Dan Quinn being hired with Washington. Look at his team in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. Look at him go. Look at you, Dan. ESPN's Alden Gonzalez joining us at 1 p.m. You're listening to Bump and Stacy. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Our weekly conversation with Daniel Jeremiah. If you were selling me on why to go with Clint Kubiak, why would you do it?
I would sell you on the fact that half the league runs this offense. So, in terms of finding players and fitting players in, you get free agents. There's a pretty good chance they've played in this offense before. So you have some familiarity there. It has success. There's a lot of teams that run it. There's a lot of teams that have been very successful with it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What's up? It's Michael Bumpus for Silver Reef Casino. The holidays are over. It's time for you to make plans for yourself. The winter is here. It's getting cold. If you want to make plans, go to silverreefcasino.com. We know what's happening in February. February 9th, you got the big game, and they got you covered. They're having a watch party. You're going to have great food. You're going to sit next to people who love the game, who know the game. It's a great situation. You're going to have a raffle, a buffet. There's going to be swag. Most importantly, good football will be played. If you are interested, get your tickets at silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com. After the game, you don't have to go anywhere. They have deluxe rooms. They got great views. You can see Mount Baker and the Sailor Sea. When you're done with that, go downstairs. They have amazing dining on site. You don't have to go anywhere. They have something for everybody. So make sure you check out silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats, too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Accomplishing goals is hard. But when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning. Your crown is disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like I was losing my identity altogether. Well, I've got some good news. It's a simple one-day treatment that worked for me. The Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. It starts growing new hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly memberships. Those can help retain what you have. But what if you want your own natural hair in specific areas like I did? You decide how how much, how thick, and where. From advanced hair's state-of-the-art facilities to the world-class leading doctors like Dr. Perungo, it's not a maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. Advanced Hair is the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and they are the team that I personally recommend. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Rain. It is like our regional calling card here in the Northwest. And when we get a lot of rain, eventually the earth that our homes are built on, that becomes saturated. And that leads to groundwater intrusion in your crawl space. That's no good. Mike Salk here. And if rain or groundwater is making its way into your crawl space, it can create big problems, including structural damage or toxic mold that ventilates into your home. You don't want any part of it. That's why Crawl Pros can keep your crawl space dry by installing a crawl space drainage system that reroutes all that water back out and away from your home. They'll also inspect the crawl for mold and properly address if there are any signs of danger. Don't take a risk. Do what I did. Have Crawl Pros come out and do a free corner-to-corner inspection and learn if you have any water issues at all. They will go where you don't want to. Certainly where I don't want to. If you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation, critters, issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule a free inspection. That's crawlpros.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy
weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Daniel Jeremiah was asked about a few mid-round quarterback lottery tickets that could be in this draft. We talked with Jordan Reed about it earlier in the show. I thought we'd get back to that bump because I think there are a lot of people going, even people that liked Geno or were impressed with, what Geno was able to do under pressure behind a struggling offensive line, know that eventually the Seahawks are going to need to find a quarterback. The Seahawks have only drafted 2 quarterbacks under John Schneider, Russell Wilson and Alex Magoo. Alex Magoo being, I think, a 6th-rounder.
Hey, he had a fun preseason, too. Magoo was a fun preseason.
I don't even remember his preseason.
He's making some plays.
And Russell Wilson obviously being a 3rd-rounder. You haven't even drafted a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round if you're John Schneider. I mean, that's got to be a bit of an itch he wants to scratch. These are not going to be like 1st-round quarterbacks, but I think that there's that feeling for a lot of fans of like, what if? What if you could find someone? I mean, we want to play that game. That seems nice. Here's what Daniel Jeremiah had to say about middle round QB lotto tickets.
That's going to be the question in this draft is who are the 3, 4, and 5 quarterbacks. Most teams agree on who the top 2 guys are, and most of them have it in Cam Ward first and then Shedeur, and then now it's who's going to be that next guy. Now, the good news is that we can revisit this because at the Senior Bowl, darn near all the candidates are going to be there, including Will Howard. So and Riley Leonard, he'll be there as well. So Will Howard, from what I saw early in the year, I would have said he's a 6th, 7th priority free agent. To the way he finished up in the playoffs, he looked like one of those mid-round lottery tickets that you see what you can get.
So in terms of QB 3, 4, 5, 6, that's going to be a guy like Dylan Gabriel. Jalen Milroe I've seen thrown out a ton by Seahawks fans. He mentioned Will Howard as part of that. We've also talked about how those sometimes later round or even mid-round, like day 2 picks, don't really work out anymore.
No, it's most draft picks don't work out the way that you want them to work out. This is the NFL where most careers last about 3.5 years. That's just the reality of the situation. What the Hawks can do, and I'm sure this isn't their thought process, they can appease a lot of fans just by drafting a quarterback. If they draft a quarterback in the 4th, 5th round, people are going to say, yes. All right, now Geno has competition. He's young. We can develop him. Maybe they give him a chance. And then if Geno comes out and doesn't look the way that the fans want him to look, you're going to hear the chants for this young man.
Yep.
But let's be clear, the Hawks don't make moves according to what you and I say or what the fans think or feel. But I also think that they do have to start planning for the future. And when you are a team that's going to win 9 or 10 games every single year, or most of the time, you're not going to have a high draft pick. So you have to try to get lucky. And then that even appeases Russell was drafted in the 3rd round, or Brock Purdy was drafted last. What about Tom Brady? That appeases so many people if you just go and get a quarterback. No matter where he is, it shows, at least from the outside, that you're addressing a position. And they know they have to address a position. Geno's going to be 35. He's not one of these guys that we expect to play well into their 40s. There's only been a couple of those guys who have looked even decent doing that. So there's a game that can't be played with them drafting a quarterback, but they're not going to be playing it for the fans. They're going to be doing it because they feel like this is the right move at the position.
Are you intrigued by either Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart, the two most common names thrown out by fans?
Jackson Dart, yes. But, I mean, all of them, man. I mean, after the top three, which are Shador, Cam, and then according to what you look at, Jalen Milroe, I mean, they all just kind of blend in. I mean, if I close my eyes and look at a silhouette of Kyle McCord, it looks like Will Howard. If I close my eyes and look at a silhouette of Jackson Dart, it can look like Dylan Gabriel. Like there's not that much separation after you get after the top three, and really the top two, because Milroe's not expected to be a first-round pick. This might be one of the few drafts where you don't have more than 3 guys drafted in the first round at quarterback. Last year we had 4, 5
in the first round.
First round.
6.
Jaden, you had Bo, you had Caleb.
Yeah,
Michael Penix. Yeah, we're not going to see that.
Yeah,
it's going to be like 2.
No, that was unreal, and a run on offensive players in general, right? I really like your point about like sometimes it's just about you don't do it to appease fans, but that all fans want to know is there's competition. Like all most fans want to know is that you took a shot to see if it would work. I don't think most fans, I really don't, based on what I see on the text line, on Twitter, I don't think most Seahawks fans are saying, trade whoever you need to get pick number 2 and take Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
Or, cut Geno and take someone with 18 overall. Like those are the least common takes I'm seeing. The most common is add someone. Like make me feel like you are willing to explore options. I don't want to feel like it's only Geno. That's what you get. I want to feel like if Geno's your starter, it's because he's truly better than the other guy you have.
Do you remember what the response was like when the Hawks picked up Sam Howell? From our listeners in our text line, it was they were excited about it. Even though he threw 21 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, he was a starter over there with the Commanders, had his good moments. They were excited about it. And then when he doesn't win the job, they give Geno a chance, and then eventually they're like, hey, we have to take a look at Sam Howell. If you do bring in a rookie, don't expect a look to be taken on a rookie unless he just is overwhelmingly so much more talented, understands the process, makes good decisions. Don't expect it. So you might get your wish. But I wouldn't expect the Hawks to draft a rookie and give him a chance during the regular season unless just disaster happens.
Well, and I wouldn't use that pick. To your point, your first 2 picks, you've already said this, on a quarterback. I understand the temptation. I understand. Again, I was hearing Mike Salk talk about it this morning, just kind of names he'd be intrigued by. And he pointed again to the lack of draft history there, saying like good teams that stay good take a quarterback when they want to, not when they need to. So it'll be the Packers drafting Jordan Love when they still have Aaron Rodgers. It'll be the Chiefs bringing in Patrick Mahomes when they've still got Alex Smith. It'll be teams that have a starter and they can still compete, but they're bringing in the next guy. And even if it's uncomfortable, they brought him in because they fell in love with that talent. Is there talent for the Seahawks to fall in love with early here? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. And I think there's truth to what Salk said, but I also think that we've seen the past couple of years more than ever that the teams who have drafted quarterbacks because they need it are just good and look like they're going to be good for the next few years. I think the Commanders are going to be good. We've seen the Texans be good. I think the Broncos are going to be good. Now, this has to be proven, and that's why I say I hear exactly where Salk is coming from. Right. But I think now more than ever with that last class was so special that I think that they're the next wave to where you draft guys early because you needed one, and that set the tone for everything else.
All right, still to come. Coming up at 1:45, it's What I Need to Know. You don't need to wait until 1:45 or 1:30 to get your questions in. You can send those in now. Any question you have, text it to the Mac and Jack's text line. I'm going to start collecting them. 866-979-3776. Coming up next, Ichiro, new inductee to the Hall of Fame. Alden Gonzalez of ESPN has a great column where he interviewed Ichiro's former teammates, former coaches, and found all the best stories to cover his career. That's coming up next.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Hank Fraley is coming to Seattle for his second interview for that OC gig. If you were him, what would you highlight?
My influence on the run game. Detroit ran the ball 47% of the time. If you ran the ball 47% of the time or more, you made the playoffs. The top 7 teams when it comes to rushing percentages are all playoff teams.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Are you tired of having your money locked up in an annuity for 5 to 7 years? A CD that is only paying 4 to 5%? Or how about that underperforming IRA that you've lost track of? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. Our Legacy Northwest Fund is a 9% fixed income fund that only requires a 2-year commitment, and we are now opening our flagship fund to new investors. Legacy's Northwest Fund has had excellent performance with 0 investor losses for 16 straight years. I challenge you to find a better fixed income opportunity in the marketplace today. Come join the over 1,000 local investors with over $200 million invested.
Legacy's Northwest Fund is now open to new investors and paying 9%. Invest smart, invest local, invest with Legacy Group Capital. Visit legacyg.com. Legacyg.com. Legacy's Northwest Fund is available to accredited investors only and paying 9% APR. Terms and conditions at legacyg.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
At O'Neill Plumbing, we've been exclusively plumbers for over 100 years. No corny mascots, no out-of-town owners. Just clean, fast, and professional plumbers out to your home fast. All rooter and all trenchless. O'Neill Plumbing.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop. The all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids.
accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
For Adam Schefter, the Jets have hired their new head coach. New York will hire former Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn to the role. Glenn's Lions defense finished just outside the top 10 in points allowed per game this season, despite losing several starters.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. ESPN's Alden Gonzalez joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. And Alden, I do want to talk about your latest column for ESPN because I loved reading it. It's what makes Ichiro a Hall of Famer from teammates and opponents. So many amazing stories. Some of them I'd heard, many of them I'd heard, some I hadn't, and I loved them. But first, I have to ask you this. Who didn't vote for Ichiro? What do you know? What do you know? What have you heard?
Thank you for the forum because I made a joke, and I emphasized joke about this on social media. Some people actually took me seriously, so I do want to state definitively for the record, I am not the person who did not vote for Ichiro Suzuki. I did not help write a 5,000-word tribute on the man and then decide I'm not going to vote for him for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I saw people not get it, and I was like, no.
Who that was, though, I don't know. Look, I can't fathom not voting for Ichiro Suzuki. I feel like it's indefensible. But I will also add, and this happens often with Hall of Fame announcements, and I always hate it, I don't want the focus to be the one person who didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki. This is an opportunity to celebrate a singular talent. And I feel like sometimes the focus turns more toward, let's find this person and let's out him and let's disgrace him and make fun of him.
Which I do want.
Like it shouldn't. Sure, I'm sure a lot of people in the Seattle area do want that, but it's not about that one voter. Right. It's about Ichiro, and like if he's unanimous, this is just my opinion. I know some people disagree. If he's unanimous, or if he's 99.7% or 90%, he's going to be a Hall of Famer forever, and I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, I agree with you. We opened our show just going in on that one guy or woman, and I was like, all right, let's not forget that Ichiro checked the box, and he's one of the greatest to do it, and show him some love. My first question is literally just off the headline of your article. What to you makes Ichiro a Hall of Famer?
I mean, there's so much. I mean, being the first position player from Japan and to be as impactful as he was immediately, just from a bigger picture standpoint, to open doors the way he did for other players to come through. The fact that he didn't get here until his age 27 season, and he still got 3,000 hits, is incredible. Those first 10 seasons in Seattle are up there with some of the best first 10 seasons in Major League history. He could do literally everything on the baseball field and chose only to do a select few things. Like, he wasn't known for his home run power, but you talk to people, and the guy could have won a home run derby if he wanted to. If he wanted to swing for the fences, he would have been a 30 to 40 home run hitter. He had that kind of power. There are some people, and he does this now at retirement, who say that he probably had the talent to be a good pitcher if he really honed in on the craft. But as skilled a batsman as there's ever been, an incredible arm, a super impactful base runner, super impactful defensively, just like everything you could ever think of doing on a baseball field, Ichiro did. And just the hype that surrounded this guy when he first got stateside, right? Like the Japanese Michael Jordan is what a lot of people call him. And then to have that rookie year that he did, to win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season, it's incredible.
Alden, Bump mentioned that we opened our show by talking about, like, okay, so why wouldn't someone do it? And we were playing devil's advocate, like racking our brains trying to think of reasons. And one thing that I at least saw on Twitter is people going, oh, well, he's a singles hitter. But I don't know, man. I find there to be a deep irony in kind of one of the existential crises that baseball is facing, being that people aren't making enough contact. And here's someone who did that better than anyone else. It feels like baseball could today use a player exactly like Ichiro.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the aesthetic of Ichiro is what Major League Baseball is striving toward. And look, I should note it's a slightly different era. I mean, Ichiro didn't play that long ago, but every year or every few years, it seems like it gets harder and harder to make contact with the baseball. But like that sort of action that Ichiro created, like every time he came to bat, you needed to watch him. And I'm sure that's true in Seattle, but I feel like that's true throughout the country because you knew something was going to happen. And that is something that, just from a big picture standpoint, I think is lacking a little bit in today's game, right? Like, you know, they introduced the pitch clock to eliminate some dead time, but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. There's still way too many strikeouts, way too much home run and slug chasing. And, I mean, Ichiro was and I should say, like a much better version of a Luis Arias, but the type of person who, like, he can put the ball anywhere on the field. Like we have there's an anecdote that my colleague Jesse Rogers got from Mark Burley about, you know, the one time that he positioned the defensive player against Ichiro Suzuki, and he never did it again, when I think he moved his shortstop over just a few steps to the right because he typically hit the ball in that area. And then Ichiro goes out and hits the ball where that shortstop used to be. And he's like, I'm never doing this again. That's incredible to be able to put the ball where you want against Major League pitching. I mean, I can't even describe how difficult that is.
What type of influence do you think Ichiro had on players like Shohei Ohtani?
I think a major. And Ichiro has talked about this before. You know, he gave players like that a path that otherwise hadn't really been carved out for them. Like somebody like Ichiro, I mean, somebody like Shohei, I mean, when he was growing up, that's when Ichiro was kind of doing his thing. And, like, that was a role model for him. And I don't think he has said this definitively, but maybe that had some sort of an impact on Shohei wanting to leave Japan early, right? Like, he came to the United States earlier than he kind of should have, because if he would have waited until he was 25, he would have gotten a lot more money. But he just wanted to get here already. And I wonder if that played a part in it. But you look at all the talents that came after Ichiro. Look at all the position players, right, that come through Japan now, that come from Japan. What Ichiro being the first and Ichiro being that impactful as the first, I mean, I'm sure it had incredible impact.
Let's get to some of the stories that you covered with your article. Again, it's what makes Ichiro a Hall of Famer, from teammates and opponents. I loved all the stories in here. My two favorites were kind of unexpected, which was your interview with the T-Mobile ballpark chef about the wings that he would make and kind of how that started. That was so funny. Right. And then also Jerry DiPoto talking about a suit that he caught Ichiro wearing and kind of that interaction. Those ended up being two of my favorites, and I think that maybe that highlights that so much of what we love about Ichiro is a quirkiness and personality too.
I should note, and this is one that got left on the cutting room floor. The T-Mobile chef, Jeremy Bryan, gave me another great anecdote that I couldn't find the space for. But Ichiro was, and I don't know, maybe you guys know this in the area, but Ichiro was a diehard Snoop Dogg fan. Like, diehard Snoop Dogg fan. And, like, for a while, according to what Jeremy told me, Jeremy was running point between Ichiro and Snoop Dogg, going to concerts, presenting Ichiro jerseys for Snoop Dogg to sign. Snoop Dogg was also a big Ichiro fan as well, and like they went years without ever being able to meet. And I think, I don't know if I have this right, but I think when Snoop Dogg came to T-Mobile Park to throw out the first pitch, Ichiro was not a Mariner during that time. But at one point, Snoop gave Jeremy Bryan a jersey of his for Ichiro to sign, and Ichiro signed it something like "Thanks for the tunes" or something. It was great.
Hey,
and that's the thing that I learned to appreciate. I just want to get this one in. But one thing that I learned to appreciate from reporting the story, and that I kind of knew, but kind of it was emphasized through this, he had like impeccable comedic timing. And I think I feel like when he played, he kept the media at an arm's distance and wanted to portray a certain image. But people who played for him said that he was hilarious.
Obviously, Ichiro's going to be remembered, and he's going to have a statue over here. The number's going to be retired here in Seattle. But he had a couple other stops. Like, what was his impact, even though they were brief stops, what were his impacts in New York and Miami?
Well, I mean, in Miami, like, he's always going to be remembered for getting his 3,000th hit there. And I think his impact more so, especially being at that stage in his career, I think it was his impact on younger players. Like, by that point, and Christian Yelich, who was with the Marlins when Ichiro went there, said this in our story, that it was the one time in his career where, like, he's playing catch with a guy, and he's like, oh, my God, I can't believe I am playing catch with this person, right? Like, this is a person that I grew up idolizing, and now here he is, my teammate. And by the time he got to these different stops, that's what he represented to a lot of those younger players. I think for those fan bases, I think he is beloved in a much lesser way than in Seattle because he just didn't have that impact. I think his impact in those stops, because of where he was in his career, is just kind of more like mentorship to young players. And one thing about Ichiro, and there's another part that I couldn't fit into the story, but I was talking to his longtime interpreter about just like how much he loves baseball, like so much so that he can't stop playing baseball. Like, he's 51 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, he still plays baseball all the time. Like, he still trains basically the way he trained when he played. And I think that joy for the game was infectious from him, even in the later stages of his career.
It's so funny you say that because Bump and I just yesterday talked with Rick Riz ahead of the induction, and he brought up, without us asking, he brought it up as part of an answer. Like, and, you know, I really want to talk about his love for the history of baseball because this is someone, while we're talking about the Hall of Fame, who, like, knows the game. And he talked about Ichiro going to, Curtis, who was the player whose grave he visited?
George Sisler.
George Sisler going to his grave on, like, the eve of potentially breaking his record. Just, like, a deep appreciation of baseball history that was just, was there, of the stories that you did include, I'm assuming one of them was maybe your favorite. It had to have made the cut if it was something that you truly just couldn't get over. Was there one story you just especially loved hearing?
You know, one that still kind of sticks with me was the one that Bob Melvin told me about his first year in Seattle when he got there. I believe it was 2003, and it's his first time managing. And, like, one thing that he was told when he got the job was, like, you need to try to build in some days off for Ichiro. Like, he refuses to take a day off. He wants to play every day. He's exhausted. He's going to get beat up. You need to find days on the calendar. So, like, Bob Melvin found a day on the calendar. It was someday in May. They were going to be in Chicago visiting the White Sox. Middle game of that series was a Saturday. He had told Ichiro for, like, a couple of weeks in advance, like, hey, you're going to be off on this day, right? And then he reminded him again, hey, you're going to be off on Saturday. I want you to come into the ballpark late. Like, don't worry about you getting here early. Get a massage. Don't take BP. Don't do anything. Worst case, if I need you, it'll be like in the 8th or 9th inning. But I'm trying to give you like the whole day off. So please take the day off. And so Ichiro doesn't say anything. And then Bob Melvin comes out to the dugout 30 minutes before the first pitch, as he normally does. And Ichiro's already sitting in the dugout. And, like, his knees going like a million miles a minute. As Bob Melvin said, he's in full uniform. He's got his batting gloves on, his bat to one side, his glove to the other side. And Bob's sitting there like, this dude is like, he's crazy. Like, I can't, I told him to take a day off. And then at one point, a fan walks by with an Ichiro jersey. And Ichiro just sort of nodded at the fan, and he looked over at Bob Melvin. And Bob told me, like, at that point, like, he told Ichiro at that point, I get it, right? Like, it was their one trip to Chicago. Who knows who bought a ticket to see who knows, like, who in the stands bought a ticket to see Ichiro that day, and it was going to be their only chance to see Ichiro. And, like, he felt that sort of he felt like he needed to have that sort of commitment to those people. And it reminded me of something I had heard, like, about Michael Jordan, like, late in his career with the Bulls, that, like, he needed to play every day because he didn't know if that person in the stands was going to be their only time watching Michael Jordan play. Ichiro sort of embodied that, and that one kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, no load management for Ichiro. I appreciate that.
Not at all.
Appreciate about him. You don't. I mean, obviously, towards the end of his career, didn't play many games. Right, he was just around. But you don't play as long as he did without the maintenance to your body. What do you know about how he took care of himself?
I just one thing that I heard was just he's just incredibly disciplined. So Raul Ibanez told me that he hit every single day. Like every single day he hit, even in the off season, every day he had a bat in his hand, he was hitting. And that runs counter to like what a lot of people believe about hitting, right? Like you should take some time off, reset. But just that he was like to the minute about everything, kind of like reminds me of I've covered Clayton Kershaw quite a bit. Kind of reminds me of that, just sort of like that robotic. Everything needed. He was also incredibly like superstitious, right? Like he needed to sit like in the same spot in the dugout all the time, same spot in the dining lounge every day. But like everything was timed to the minute. Everything had a purpose. There was no swing MVP. There was no throw warming up that was like just like messing around. Like he did everything like with this type of focus. And it's the way that he lived his life.
What makes Ichiro a Hall of Famer? From teammates, opponents, amazing, amazing stories in this article. You guys set aside some time today, if you haven't read it already, to check it out. There are things I hadn't heard about in here. It's laugh out loud funny at moments. It's on ESPN.com right now. He's Alden Gonzalez. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alden.
No problem. Thank you all.
All right, let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Bump. What franchise do you think will have the biggest turnaround next year?
I'm going to the NFC North. Now, Ben Johnson, shots fired at Matt LaFleur. That's crazy.
I like how you say LaFleur.
LaFleur. I feel like it looks like it has to be said like that, you know what I mean?
No, it does. That I appreciate it. It's LaFleur.
LaFleur. He says, look, I understand how to beat Green Bay twice. And shots fired, and I'm sure Matt and Green Bay, they heard all that. But it's so early into the offseason that they won't forget about it, but it's not going to hit the same way. But I think that because the NFC North, you lost Ben Johnson to the Lions. You lost Aaron Glenn, the Lions. Obviously, he's with the Jets now. Sam Darnold isn't with the Vikings anymore. We assume he's not going to be with the Vikings. They're not going to have the same years that they had this year. This is an educated guess. I'm assuming they're not going to have the same year. So now you look at Ben Johnson. He has the number 10 pick, the number 41 pick. Both of those picks should be O-line guys. Last year, Chicago was bottom 5 when it comes to play action attempts, right? The Lions were first. So we know they're going to do that. That's going to help out Caleb Williams over there. You got Swift at the running back position. I think he's got more left in the tank. And then they were 25th when it comes to rushing. That's going to change as well. If he can get a veteran in there at offensive line, 2 young guys to compete, and the division got weaker just by personnel alone, coaches or whatnot, he can have a big turnaround. He's dealing with probably a top 8 in the league when it comes to talent at the quarterback spot. Caleb had himself a decent year last year, but he was the most sacked quarterback in the game, and a lot of what he did was out of shotgun. Everything was straight up. We know what he has on the outsides when it comes to Roman, DJ, and Keenan Allen. I'm looking at the Bears, and I'm thinking they go from 5 wins to at least 8 to 9 wins. And I think that will be a big jump for those guys. It's a combination of Ben going over there helping out that offense, but also what's going on in that division. The NFC North was the strongest division in the regular season last year. I don't think that's going to happen again next year.
Yeah, I wonder if the Bears are going to have the season in 2025 people thought they would in 2024, but in 2024, your problem wasn't necessarily the talent you were bringing in, like a Dunze or Caleb Williams. It was the coaches you had.
Right.
I mean, Matt Eberflus probably shouldn't have still been there. Shane Waldron doesn't sound like he was the right guy for the job, but everyone was overlooking it because all eyes are on your number 1 overall pick. Then you take this wide receiver, and then you've got these defensive guys. Interesting prediction. Second down. What new head coach will have the shortest leash?
My uncle, Aaron Glenn, over there with the New York Jets. Side note, have you seen Aaron Glenn? I don't know how old he is, but my man is in shape. He's in great shape. Man got some forearms. He's yoked up. But Aaron Glenn, the reason why I say he's going to be on a short leash is because he's a defensive guy. And on paper, the Jets look good defensively. You got some guys coming back, and now he just made it public that he wants Aaron Rodgers to continue to be the quarterback over there. We heard Aaron Rodgers speak at the end of the season and say, look, it all depends on if I want to come back, if they want to have me come back. It sounds like you have the endorsement of the new head coach, and that's probably the best move because you got the number 7 pick in the draft. We know that the quarterback spot isn't extremely talented when it comes to this draft. They might even still get a quarterback. Now is Aaron Rodgers going to be able to help develop that guy? And I just say short leash because of what we've seen in the past with this team, and because I'm looking at their roster and they coming back. they look like they are built to win right now. There's just a cultural problem going on over there. Of all the coaches in different spots right now, he's on the shortest leash. Does that mean he's a one and done? No, I don't think so. Does that mean he's 2 or 3 years? We shall see. But every other coach that's been hired, I feel like, has a different situation they're dealing with. And Aaron Glenn is going to be expected to show some massive improvement quickly. Maybe not be a playoff team, but it show that they're moving in the right direction with an aging quarterback. If he can get Aaron Rodgers to mentor whoever is next, and maybe Aaron might be more willing this time around because he's in his 40s now instead of in his 30s with Jordan Love. Maybe he mentors a kid, but there's a lot going on with the Jets.
You've sent me on a Google rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I have the following takeaway.
All right.
You said Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
He looks like he works out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what. So he's 52. And
Yeah.
you're right. This guy looks like
He looks
I don't know how
good.
much he benches, but he's in good shape. So then you sent me down the rabbit hole of, I immediately thought, how many head coaches could he beat up? So I looked up all the head coaches in the AFC East, and I've settled on the following takeaway. This is what I really want second down to get to. I've settled on the following takeaway. The AFC East coaches, more than coaches from other divisions, could win the most fights. Mike McDaniels, their weak link. He's there for jokes. He's there for comedic
What do you
relief.
got? You got
Mike,
McDermott?
no, listen.
All right.
McDermott, Aaron Glenn,
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
They're throwing hands.
They're throwing hands.
Listen.
They're throwing hands.
You got 3 defensive guys, including guys that have played.
Hey, McDaniels look like he might know like some karate or something.
He'd be a
He might surprise you. Yeah.
Quick mover, but I mean, he's definitely holding them back. Like, he's for sure doesn't want to fight them. But I think division with most coaches who could fight.
Yeah.
I think right now is the AFC East. I'll do more research later. Third down. Who's a running back, if available late, you would want the Hawks to take a look at?
So this goes out to one of our listeners, Wally from Snoqualmie. I missed an opportunity the first time I did this. So the Hawks have picked number 82. At 82, you go Scatterboo if he's there at bars. All right? If
Such a good
Scatterboo is
buy.
there at 82, you go get him. I don't think he's going to be there, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be there. But the reason why I like Scatterboo, he's like the new type of running back. All the running backs that are with the Hawks can do a little bit of everything, but it's almost like he specializes in a little bit of everything. He even threw a touchdown pass in the college football playoff. Like, he does everything. I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think he'll be available, but that's a young man that I wouldn't mind having on this roster. Big ups to Paul Moyer, Arizona State alum.
At 82, take Scatterboo.
Take Scatterboo.
Bars. That was
He
from
gonna
Wally?
I said it, and then Wally wrote in and was like, "Bump, you missed an opportunity." I go,
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
you're right.
So, okay, so we have to applaud Bump
Yeah.
for that. Was a great bar.
Uh-huh.
Fourth down. Earlier, we spoke with Jordan Reed, an ESPN draft analyst. Anything interesting from him?
He said a lot of interesting things. It was a good interview. If you guys check that out, what's that, the second hour? We did that?
Leading off 11, yes.
Okay, 11 o'clock hour. Check that out. He said a few things. He said there's no DK Metcalf in this draft. Like, physically, there's no DK Metcalf. You can still get some good wideout play, but there's no DK in this draft. Maybe that helps influence what they're going to do in that position. He also said, look, he can see a situation where they move Abe to the guard spot and you bring in another tackle, and ask him why. He says, I like what he said. He has bumpers on his shoulders. Like, he will get into contact. He feels like he can move good enough. Me personally, I didn't think Abe fit the guard spot, but I'm going to take his word for it. He also said there might be 30 running backs drafted in this draft. And I was like, that can't be true. And then he backed it up and said in 2017, you have 30 running backs in that draft. Obviously, we're looking at Ashton Jensen to lead the charge. I love Amarion Hampton with North Carolina. Then you have the duo in Ohio State. You got Henderson and Judkins over there. Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, who I think is good. And obviously, I mentioned Scatterboo as well. 30 running backs, he said, could be taken in this draft. This is the most natural position in football, in my opinion. Put the football ball in my hand. Let me go. If that happens, this be for an interesting draft. That's like a side bet for you to make with your boys or your homies when you're watching this draft. How many running backs are going to be taken?
What about the NFC West coaches? Do we think they could win?
NFC West. I think Mike McDonald, he's in good shape as well.
Off the rails.
He's in good shape.
Okay, so here's the thing. There are some divisions where, like AFC West, forget about it. I'm so sorry. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Nah, it's too old over there.
It's too old. It's
Yeah.
just not. The NFC East, I think Nick Sirianni is feisty. I think Dan Quinn could swing. We don't know what's going on with the
Quinn
Cowboys.
seems like a wrestler.
Yeah. Brian
He'll grown
Daboll
man
would
you.
get real in your face. I think he's a yeller and not
I
necessarily a
think
fighter.
Daboll picks up weapons like bottles and stuff and swings them at
Did
you.
I say Quinn or Daboll?
Dable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nick Sirianni's the first to swing from that group.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know that they're the strongest group, though. I'm sticking with my point
They
about
might be the
AFC
scrappiest
East.
group, though.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Scrappiest group of coaches. I think the NFC West is going to be like the suave guys where you're like, they're all in shape, but can they fight?
It's all interesting.
You know?
I don't think Shanahan's fighting nobody. He's having a beer and watching it go down.
I don't think he's fighting anyone. I don't know that Sean McVay's fighting anyone.
Sean McVay would try to talk you out. Like, listen, man, come on. We were going to do this, man. We got things to do
And
tomorrow.
I don't think Mike McDonald's fighting anyone. I'm sorry,
Gannon
Curtis. I got us so off the rails.
Gannon ain't fighting nobody.
What's on tonight?
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Warriors take on the Kings tonight on ESPN. Tip-off at 7 p.m. Do you want to hear what else is on?
Which Housewives?
It's the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part 1. Again, coming your way later tonight. More Bump and Stacy next.
Ichiro is headed to Cooperstown.
The unbelievable has happened!
Celebrating the career of Ichiro Suzuki.
I may joke around, but I really think it's great that we get a chance to play together.
I agree.
I'm here to tell you that Ichiro grew something out of Star Wars down there.
He had the most unbelievable ability to put the bat on the ball.
And a ground ball back up the middle, and there it is. He's a new all-time hit king.
Join Seattle Sports in congratulating Ichiro Suzuki on a Hall of Fame career with your Seattle Mariners.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 2 tickets to the ultimate big game tailgate party. Sunday, February 9th at the Muckleshoot Casino Resort Event Center. Enjoy an all-you-can-eat spread, a beverage garden, tailgating games, and watch the big game on huge screens throughout. Meet Seahawks dancers and players. Plus, enjoy giveaways and more. Visit seattlesports.com/win to enter. That's seattlesports.com/win for your chance to win.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today.
Where can you kick off the new year? With big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you to gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your very first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile. From home to hotspots this new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet, spend less green, and switch to Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Internet discount applied to mobile bill. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon, Fiber, Gig Plus One Unlimited Welcome Line, and AT&T Fiber Gig Plus One Unlimited Starter Line. Xfinity internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual speeds vary.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
I was having trouble getting up and down my stairs at home. I thought, well, this isn't going to work because how am I going to go to Utah and do some hiking?
When Judy came to Sound Pain Solutions, her knee pain was preventing her from enjoying an active lifestyle. She was diagnosed with osteoarthritis. She tried numerous treatments and was told she should have surgery. I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We were able to get Judy back to hiking with our comprehensive, non-surgical, and drug-free treatment.
I think that the Trigenics that they do along with the adjustment, the pressure wave, and the PRP are the best options for joint pain. And I would really recommend it to anybody who is suffering from joint pain and would like to avoid surgery.
Schedule a free consultation to learn if you qualify for our safe, drug-free, non-surgical treatment by calling Sound Pain Solutions or visiting soundpainsolutions.com.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers who chonk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Someone said saying Le Fleur like that is Bump's new version of the Irish.
Le Fleur.
And someone else said Bump and Stacy need a Reddit page so we can discuss important issues during the show, like which coach group could win in a fight. Absolutely.
Man, during the break, we're looking at all the pictures, trying to figure out who can do what.
Okay, so I'll say the two conclusions I came to. Number one, more NFL head coaches, I think, are in shape and willing to fight than I would have expected. Number two, I stand by my first argument that the AFC East, I think
strongest
would win in a
division.
Fight. Yeah,
Strongest
you got
division.
3 of 4, and then one is comedic relief and brains and heart, I guess.
Those are the ones I got to worry about, though. Quick story. I was in Arizona one time, and but golf trip, buddy gets a little too drunk. And him and this guy kind of square off. It's a smaller guy. My buddy's big, like McDaniels size. And the calmness on that little man's face, I go, don't do it, dog. He's trained. Calm. He's calm. Like, no one is this calm. And you're all amped up. I go, don't do it, man.
Let's go. He's too confident.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to go. Or like a guy with like cauliflower ear. And it's like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Look for the signs.
I think the division that would lose instantly in a fight would be the AFC West.
Yes.
It's all old guys.
Exactly.
It's
correct.
Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh. And Jim Harbaugh's getting hip surgery like in a couple days.
Yeah, one of them's calling the cops. Like, they're not.
Hey, Raiders ain't even showing up. They ain't got a coach.
They don't got anybody.
Sad. I know. And then you got D'Amico Ryans just being like, is anyone else here? Can I get help, please? Shane Steichen, I'm here. Oh, man. We had Jordan Reed on earlier, and he's an ESPN draft analyst. We talked about, in 4 Down Territory, Bump highlighted one of the most interesting things was him really having high praise for the number of running backs that could go in this class and whether or not Seattle should take a shot. Really good conversation. You can go back and listen to that. He also talked about something we haven't highlighted, which is what he could see on the offensive line for Seattle. That is Abe Lucas moving inside.
One possibility could be shifting Abe Lucas inside their starting right tackle just because of the durability concerns that he has had, and then drafting somebody in this offensive tackle class. But if they want to keep him at that right tackle spot, I would like to see them upgrade at that guard spot, whether it's Tyler Booker out of Alabama. I think he would be a really good fit Armand Mimbo out of Mizzou is another name that you'll probably see commonly projected to the Seahawks. And then also Jonas Savania out of Arizona is probably another name that you'll see as well.
Bump, you raised an eyebrow during that interview, and I think it's because you were like, you know, what do you see from Abe that would make him good at guard? So you asked Jordan. This is what Jordan said.
I just think the physicality that he plays with, which is something that I always love to see in those guards. And then also there's just something about what I like to call having those bumpers on each shoulder, just so you have that security with the center and then also the tackle. But as a tackle, you're always out on the island at that right tackle spot over your right shoulder. So it is a little bit different when you have those bumpers over each shoulder at guard, and you can protect them a little bit more in those protections as opposed to being on an island at offensive tackle.
I didn't get to ask you during the interview because we were in the interview, but I immediately thought, I need to ask Bump about this later. What did you think of his point about, well, maybe they move Abe Lucas inside?
It was interesting. I'm not completely against it, but I didn't see that. And the reason why I didn't see it is because of his body type and the way that he moves. I can't necessarily see Abe Lucas pulling at a high level. You know, maybe he can do it. I went and looked at the offensive line for the Detroit Lions. Their left guard is 6'6", about 315. And that's essentially what Abe Lucas is. He is 6'6". Where you at, Abe? He's 6'6".
And big.
322. So they're around the same size, but you can be around the same size and move differently. Maybe because I haven't seen it a lot from Abe Lucas. It's not something I can see him doing consistently, but, you know, my man watches film too, Reed, and if he can see it, I'll take a look at it tonight, actually.
I just think it's interesting because we had cuts from Curtis. Was it Daniel Jeremiah? Totally blanking, or Field Yates? One of them said, hey, maybe Seattle takes a tackle and not a guard. And Field Yates, thank you. And we've been talking so much. Oh, you need the interior line. Maybe you find your answer at center. If you believe in Olu, you have to address guard. Like, you simply have to. Tackle settled. Why would you worry about it? And yet Field's point was, well, if there's a really, really good tackle, why not add him to your offensive line and then have too much of a good thing and figure out that problem?
And what did we learn about Schneider? He said, look, I got to take guys who are just the best available and not necessarily to fit a need. So if the best available guy happens to be a tackle, going off of what Schneider said, I think he would explore a world where you just bring them in and you start to move guys around. My thing is, I just don't want the shuffling going around. You know, remember that group, LMFAO, every day I'm shuffling? I want none of that with this offensive line this year. I want guys to be solidified, and the only reason why we're moving them is because someone unfortunately got hurt.
Yeah, Patrick and Tacoma, the one piece on the offensive line that isn't broken. Exactly. Like
right.
Charles Cross is going to be thrown into the mix with a ton of critique because the offensive line struggled and was one of the worst in football, but his season was fine.
Yeah.
And I know there are people that because he's a top 10 pick, they expect, like, you should be an all-pro. Like, you should be really good, and maybe he's still evolving to that, but he was a perfectly serviceable starter.
Yeah, and there's going to be a couple guys available. Dalton Reisner out of Minnesota. He's a guard. He's going to be available there. So I think that if you do draft a tackle, you draft because you haven't been as healthy at that spot, and you want to make sure you're good to go. If you are trying to get better at the guard position right now, you do your best to get a guy like Dalton Reisner out of Minnesota.
Yeah. You mean like an approach to free agency kind of?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why they haven't spent there. Like, John Schneider seemed very willing to change his philosophical approach to the draft. I wonder if he'll change that approach to spending. They don't really spend on guards. But, I mean, he's been completely panned for that take about overpaying guards. You know what's funny is every analyst we brought on, when we tell them about that take, they're like, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, they don't like shame him for it.
Yeah, no one's like, no analyst has panned him for it,
No.
but they have said, ultimately, the Seahawks need to figure it out.
It's okay to take a swing at a pitch you normally don't in a certain situation. And I think that's where they're in right now. Take a swing at this and just try something different if you think that guy's available.
Yeah.
And a veteran. Need a vet.
One other cut that I thought was interesting, we did talk about this earlier, but I want to get back to it because DK, along with Geno, is going to be a massive conversation all offseason until we see what happens with those contracts. Both need extensions, need that cap hit to be lowered somehow, some way. Is it going to be via trade? Is it going to be extension? Jordan Reed was asked about the wide receiver talent he saw in the draft because we made it clear yesterday there's an emergence of NFL-ready wide receiver talent, if you have a very expensive receiver, maybe you take a risk. Here's what Jordan said.
There's no DK Metcalf in his draft class, in my honest opinion, just because of how good he's been over the past few years or so. And, I would disagree a little bit about the wide receiver talent in this class. There's not that high-end talent that we've seen in years past of where we've seen 4 or 5 guys go inside the top 20. But I think this is an overly deep wide receiver class. In day 2 and day 3, I think we're going to see a lot of guys go off of the board in that range. I don't think there's any top 5 or top 10 player in this class, in my opinion, unless you're counting Travis Hunter strictly as a wide receiver. And then, argument could be made about Tedero McMillan out of Arizona, who some people have as that marquee player.
Bump, what I'm hearing is you can add depth, you can add a new wide receiver 3. You cannot replace DK.
No, there's no clear-cut number one. He did mention McMillan out of Arizona and then also Hunter out of Colorado. So they're heavier on the back end. So this sounds like a draft. And it's crazy. We've heard conflicting evaluations.
Yeah.
We've heard pretty much, ain't no receivers in this draft. And now we've heard, well, there's receivers in the back end, second, third round. So maybe that's what the first analyst was pretty much saying. Like there's none really first-round guys that you're going to go after, but there's some in the back end. So, yeah. It all blends together after the first round, so see what they do.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know to the Mac and Jack's text line. Any question you have, text it right now, 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We saw some of these players highlighted there in the playoffs. You saw Jared Verse, who we've talked about. Did you draft the right guy? Byron Murphy was the first-round pick of your Seattle Seahawks and then picked 19th overall. 3 spots later was Jared Verse by the Rams.
Byron Murphy was the best player left at number 16, and that's why they picked him.
You have to remember who the Seahawks were going into this draft. They were a team, a defense in particular, that was getting the ball run down their throat.
Read up on the latest news and opinions at seattlesports.com.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here. Let's talk stats. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the state of Washington ranks number 4 in the whole U.S. for the highest concentration of roofers. That's literally thousands of roofers to choose from. So how do you know how to pick the right one for your home? Well, you start by eliminating those who aren't GAF Master Elite certified. That's about 97% of all roofers. So now you're down to the elite 3%. How many have over 35 years of experience? How many utilize the catch-all system to keep yards and driveways clear of any debris? Family-owned with local roots and have the stamp of approval from the Mike Salk household? Well, that leaves you with just one, the roofing company you can trust. That's Riverside Roofing. In a sea of thousands of competitors, Riverside Roofing continues to stand out. And guess what? They have openings this winter for your roof project. So have them out to your house this week. Call them at 425-949-8252 or go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, January 29th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, January 29th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey, I got you something. What's this? Just a little Galentine's gift from JTV.
Do you mean Jewelry Television? I love their jewelry. They have the
New customers get $25 off their first purchase of $75 or more. Visit jtv.com/romance.
Yeah, their artisan collections, gorgeous.
Are you going to open your gift?
Oh, yeah. It's the pearl bracelet.
New customers receive $25 off their first purchase of $75 or more. Visit jtv.com/romance.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite. Now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 1/13 through 1/24. Cannot be combined with additional discounts while supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
It's time to vote for the top athletes and sports stories of 2024. Be part of history and help choose the sports stars of the year from a knockout roster representing the best in Washington sports. Cast your vote for the sports story of the year. Was it the Seawolves playoff run, the Kraken making history, or UW rowing dominating the Olympics? You decide. Vote now at seattlesports.org and enter for a chance to see the winners announced live at the 90th Annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft.
The Hot Stove Show. Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason with Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and $250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you. Guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Send any question you have to the Mac and Jack's text line. I call it the Mac and Jack's advice line. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. What are you really more upset about today, says one listener. The idiot voter that didn't vote for Ichiro, or that the Mariners have gone pretty cheap this offseason?
Oh, the idiot voter for sure, because we assume that the M's are going to go cheap this offseason, right?
Like, I wouldn't have assumed they'd really spend, so I don't feel totally let down.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in their offseason and disappointed in kind of a lack of urgency, disappointed in a lack of spending from several MLB teams around the league, but that, again, I'm going back to listeners texting us when we opened the show being like, you're bringing attention to it. I'm so mad. Yes, this one thing did bother me all day yesterday. I could not stop trying. Like I'm going to Google and find out.
We're a Seattle station. It affects us directly.
Yeah. And I was heated.
Yeah, I was hot.
I felt like it was very hypocritical to the point of journalism. Like, your whole thing is standing by what you believe and transparency, and if you have an argument, you're going to back it up with evidence. So you just kind of rung a doorbell and ran away.
Sure did.
Man. What's your go-to? This person says soup when sick. And they say, I left work early because I'm sick, but I'll throw in just food too if you don't do soup.
Yeah, I do soup. Good old chicken noodle soup. Good old chicken noodle soup.
Or
chicken
tomato.
noodle soup.
Get a grilled cheese going with it.
Worst thing to have when you're sick, because you should be having liquids in soup, but I love nothing more than like a really salty, like a Cheez-It. Like the worst possible.
I'm just going to dehydrate myself.
Yeah. Let me make this worse. I don't know. Something about like crackers, like the blandness of them.
Saltines.
Yeah. Like I'll eat a whole pack. Oh, these Annie's is the brand, and they're like knockoff
Cheddar bunnies.
cheeses. Cheddar bunnies, but then they have squares. I'll eat the whole box, and I will truly want to drink a well of water afterwards. What I need to know. How hard is it?
That's rare for you, too, because you're not a water drinker.
I said water, but I meant Diet Coke.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What I need to know. Bump, how hard is it to actually come up with trick plays that work at the NFL level?
Extremely hard. It's hard. You got guys who are disciplined. It's like you can only run like 2 of them things a year because guys are, for the most part, locked in on their assignment and understand that not making the play is sometimes making the play.
Yeah. An important question from a listener who says, do you eat the ends of a loaf of bread or toss them?
I toss some things unless I just really want a sandwich and there's nothing left.
It would have to be a desperation, and it
Yeah.
never tastes good.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The ends of the loaf of bread, I don't know why they exist. I mean, I guess because they were there. But I don't know anyone where like that's their favorite thing. It's like your favorite thing's black licorice. Like you like weird things, and that's cool for you. But
It's for nutritional value only. You're not doing it for taste.
yeah, you'd think it would be the best part because it's the most bread.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I like crust. I like pizza.
Yeah, but it's horrible.
I know. Exactly.
What I need to know. Oops. I clicked out of this guy. Great story about Ichiro and Snoop Dogg, says one listener. If you could befriend a famous musical artist, who would you choose? New Jersey swap.
Who befriend a famous musical artiste? Can I go back to when they're in their prime?
Yes.
I'd probably rock with DMX. I feel like it was wild, and I'd like to see that. Rest in peace.
I don't know who I'd choose. No, it would not be Taylor Swift. I do not listen to Taylor Swift. I know that's
You have a Taylor Swift binder right now.
No, I don't. It's not a Taylor Swift binder. It's just colorful.
It says Bad Blood on it, too.
No, it doesn't.
What about prime like Britney? That
would be fun.
She was quite the hang back.
Yeah, I'd have to go way, way, way back where I'm like a kid, and we're talking like Britney, NSYNC, Backstreet
No, I
Boys.
switched mine.
Yeah?
Bobby Brown in his prime. Woo! That'd be crazy.
Man, you'd end up in a cop car.
That'd be crazy.
866-979-3776. Get your questions into the Mac and Jacks text line. What I need to know, all caps, though I'm not going to yell. Why haven't we hired an OC yet?
Because they haven't found the right guy, or they're waiting for the right guy.
I wonder if it's that. I really do.
It might be that they're waiting. Process of elimination. They're like, okay, let's bring these guys in for another one. That'll buy us time to have at least one interview with the guy we really want.
Let me tell you, though, that my problem with that is I really don't know a lot about the coaching staffs of those remaining two. Like,
you know what? I'll do it 4 down tomorrow.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Bump's going to answer that question by looking at the remaining coaching staffs. Find a random pass game coordinator, run game coordinator, someone on there. Who wins in a fight, Stacy or Taylor Swift? Good question.
Who or Taylor Swift?
We probably weigh the same, and she probably has 8 inches of height on me.
I was going to say, she's got some reach on you.
She's absolutely got the height.
But as we know, low man wins.
Low man wins.
You got to tackle her. You got to fight dirty.
I'm going to the knees,
You got to
bro.
fight dirty.
Yeah, I'm diving. Like, there's no flags on this play. Any street rules. Street rule fight, I think it's me for sure. And here's the thing. Everything you hear about Taylor Swift is that she's super nice. And while I'm a nice person who's never been in a fight in my entire life, if it was like, fight this person or die, I think I'd win.
I think you would, too.
I think I would.
What's your first move? Are you punching or are you a kicker?
You know what girls do?
No,
Grab hair.
I can't reach her hair. I can't reach her hair.
It's
I
long.
can't.
Hair is
No,
long.
my first move is putting my hair back. My
Taking your
second
earrings
move,
out.
I think I'm diving to the knees. I think I gotta get her low. She seems really nice. I feel like I should back it up by being like, she seems like a very nice person. I hope we never have to fight in real life.
I really hate to do this to you, but we gotta fight.
It's just
for a bit.
both of us going, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Your first move is to sweep the leg.
Sweep that leg.
Sweep the leg. Let's see. Someone texted in earlier. I want to get your thought on this. This was actually for our earlier segment about not being able to replenish DK's talent in the draft. And someone said DK wasn't supposed to be DK.
No, I think they thought DK would just get hurt because he had a neck injury. I think they were scared of that. But you watch his Ole Miss film, he was doing DK things.
Yeah. I think, it was the neck injury, and it was, well, can he be refined? Like, it was more
Because then
of
he
like...
played one side of the field, too. There was more questions on his route running, but there's no question he would run behind people.
No, and they knew. DK was like that lotto ticket that might win, but you're like, do I spend the money on it?
Mm-hmm.
But like when he was taken, people were like, let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
This could be fun.
What, second round?
Second round.
Yeah.
I mean, Mina Kimes was on live coverage and started freaking out because she was so excited. 866-979-3776. Someone said they need to decide on the OC soon before the decision is made for them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you check it out on the Bump and Stacy podcast page on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or SeattleSports.com. Also, please leave a review. If you already listen to the podcast, it would mean a ton. Doesn't take a lot of time. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
To this point, we still don't know who the one Hall of Fame voter is that did not vote for Ichiro. So you still are left with one player in the history of baseball that's been a unanimous selection.
It's one thing to be famous, and then it's another to be infamous, right?
Yeah.
So the guy was trying to make a name for himself. It might go horribly wrong for him.
I really